You're watching TSN, the Sports Network.
The battleground this afternoon, Taylor Field in Regina. The Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Calgary Stampeders contesting for second place in the West Division. The Green Riders have had the edge in 89, 2 games and 2 wins. And the victories have both come in dramatic fashion. Wide receiver Don Narcisse has been the decisive weapon. 2 touchdown catches as the Riders scored 17 points in the dying moments to win game number 1 at Taylor Field. And then there was this spectacular catch, the key to 14-point third quarter explosion as Saskatchewan captured game 2 in Calgary 2 weeks ago. Calgary's fortunes could well rest with the arm of a backup. Quarterback Danny Barrett won't start today, but last week he came off the bench and threw 4 touchdown passes as the Stampeders beat up on the Lions. Presents the Foster's CFL Game of the Week. Brought to you by Foster's Lager, proud to bring you the best in the CFL. Hardly any winds, all kinds of sunshine, and 26,000 fans in the stands. It's a glorious Sunday on the prairies. Welcome to Taylor Field, everybody. I'm Peter Watts, along with John Wells and Lee Pedersen, for what we think is the best football game of week number 16. The Calgary Stampeders, with a record of 9-6, in second place, 2 points ahead of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who have a record of 8-7. Riders have won their last 2 games. They're looking to make it 3 in a row at Taylor Field today. The Calgary Stampeders are having a pretty good year, except for 2 things. They have lost 5 games against West Division teams, 3 to Edmonton, 2 to Saskatchewan, and they still have the Riders to play once again next Sunday at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. So they would dearly love to beat one of these 2 teams and solidify their hold on second place in the West. Can they do it today? Let's find out from the guys who'll call the game. Here's John and Lee.
All right, Peter, on the other side of the ledger, if the Saskatchewan Roughriders win the next 2 games, this one this afternoon and next week at McMahon Stadium, it will be Saskatchewan hosting the Western semifinal.
Which they would love to do. I mean, these 2 teams obviously are playing for the right to host the semifinal. You know, 2 teams that I think are quite similar, John. Both teams have a good core of veteran players, and then they sprinkle through a couple of young guys with some tremendous talent.
Let's look at the matchups for this one, beginning with the Calgary Stampeders offensively. And the key there is the big threat man, Larry Willis.
Well, you know, so many guys have made contributions, Danny Barrett, Lorenzo Graham, but in my opinion, in the last 3 games in the playoffs, Larry Willis has to be the key factor for them to be successful.
Saskatchewan defense rock solid until injuries dissipated the team, and they'll have some problems here this afternoon up the middle.
Dave Albright is out for the season with knee problems. Tuane Alapate takes over for him. Last week, had a great game. You know, at Washington State, he holds the career weightlifting record. He is a tremendous athlete. Watch for him this afternoon.
Heart and soul of the Saskatchewan Roughrider offense is the running back, Tim McRae.
Well, Timmy McRae's had a super year. First time in his career he has been over 1,000 yards rushing. Last guy to do it was Mike Strickland way back in 1978. He is the leader and a big play man.
Defensively for Calgary, they welcome back this guy, Mr. Major.
Well, you know, they've got a great defense, John, and it makes them just that much better having Chris Major back. Last year, you see 10 interceptions, had 4 fumble recoveries. He will help on the corner. He is on the hot corner, the left corner, and he'll be playing mostly against Don Narcisse, who, of course, is the big gunner in the Saskatchewan offense. So that's a nice matchup to follow.
Good matchups this afternoon and a great ball game ahead on TSN. Peter?
And a great day as well, guys. The kickoff is next from Taylor Field. It's the Riders and the Stampeders.
Our national anthem with the Wilfrid Locker School Choir.
It is absolutely a perfect afternoon for a football game at Taylor Field in Regina. 15 degrees Celsius, a slight breeze from the west, and a dry artificial omni-turf here at Taylor Field. In charge of proceedings this afternoon will be John Ireland, number 62, and he'll be ably assisted by Brian McKee, Ed Dunn, Ross Hutchison, Bernie Prusco, and Larry Rohan. Underway, a short kickoff picked up at the 35, and the Stampeders will get excellent field position on the return by Finley. number 37.
Kind of strange to think, John, that Danny Barrett is the offensive star of the week last week, and he doesn't get the start. But Larry Koharic decides that Terrence Jones will be the starter probably for the final 3 games in the regular season. He's got a good cast, of course. Mark Zeno, Larry Willis at the wideouts, and Lorenzo Graham, who's been a huge addition to that offense.
Stampeders on first down at the 52. Brock Smith has the first reception of the game, stopped by number 42, Eddie Lowe. A gain of 4 yards.
Terrence Jones, 46% on the year, 6 interceptions, a couple of touchdowns, and boy, you usually find that with a young quarterback, the interceptions more than the touchdowns. There's the group he will work with. Marshall Toner having his best year as a Calgary Stampeder.
This will be 2nd and 6 for the Stampeders across midfield now. The Saskatchewan 54. Jones to the far side. And Toner was the intended receiver. There was double coverage on Toner that time as Suter drifted over. And Harry Skipper was there as well.
Harry Skipper did a nice job coming off his man, Larry Willis, and in on the play.
Enter Brent Matich. He's having a good year. Brown is back. The lone man deep for Saskatchewan.
Remember, Albert Brown has a couple of touchdowns already this year on punt returns. He is extremely dangerous.
Timmy, right, Timmy! Right, Timmy!
Brown at the 6. Good block, and that springs Brown out to the 25.
Boy, oh boy.
Graham leading the tacklers upfield for Calgary that time.
Yeah, and if he doesn't get him, Albert Brown has a lot of room. Ken Austin gets to start this afternoon, a quarterback. His 7th start since taking over from Tommy Burgess.
And new in the backfield is Sean Daniels, number 33, replacing Milson Jones.
About the same size, though. He is a 5'11", 240 pounds.
Built like a fire plug, isn't he?
Yes. All Canadian offensive line up front. They do a good job protecting the quarterback.
First down, Saskatchewan. And for Narcisse. Oh, what a catch! Major covering on Don Narcisse. And that was pretty.
Well, we talked about Chris Major in our opening, saying he would make a tough defense even better. And they go after him right off the bat. Don Narcisse with his 72nd reception. Wow, what a catch.
On first down after a 47-yard gain, this is Austin on the run. And he gets to the 30, short of the first down by a couple. Close to 8.
Roughriders going without a huddle, a hurry-up offense to try and stop Calgary from making some substitutions or defensive calls. This is what we talked about, John. Will the loss of Milson Jones affect the short yardage today? Talked to Milson last night. Has a broken thumb, has a pin in it. I'm not sure whether he will be back.
2nd and 2. Roughriders outside the 30. McRae has the first down as he scoots inside the 25 to the 23. Bill Johnson made the stop. Number 81.
Well, what a year Timmy McRae is having. You know, in his 4th year as a Saskatchewan Roughrider, began his career with the Ottawa Roughriders. Over 1,000 yards the first time in his career. All-purpose-wise, he's got 2,245 yards. That is a lot of yardage. And you know the key thing about him, John? He's always healthy.
He's had quite a season. 1st and 10. Saskatchewan at the 24. And this is the newcomer, Sean Daniels, in his first start. Junior Thurman made the stop on Daniels. It's close to 5, Lee.
John Daniels went to Bowling Green University and, in fact, was drafted by the Hamilton Tiger Cats in 1988. He was part of the trade that saw Peter Giftopoulos go from Saskatchewan to Hamilton. Sean Daniels was part of that deal along with another draft choice. And 5'11", 240, he is a fire hydrant.
It is 2nd and 5, Saskatchewan. Inside the Calgary 20. McRae going nowhere. Ken Ford breaking it up. Number 97. Ford, a pretty good linebacker, having a great year. In fact, Calgary has an outstanding core of linebackers. Not bad up front either, with a couple of Canadians, Warnock and Beliveau. On the right side, Price and Johnson.
You know what? Eugene Beliveau is absolutely having his best year ever as a pro. 10 sacks. Ronnie Hopkins, he is also having a good year.
Ken Warnock right beside Beliveau is having a pretty good year, too, with 10 sacks.
The Warriors got 10 as well, and he's missed some games with that broken foot.
On third down, a 27-yard field goal try. Dave Ridgway automatically through. Roughriders. Couple of big plays and the first points of the game at Taylor Field. It is a terrific afternoon for football as Ridgway puts Saskatchewan into the lead. Head coach John Gregory, 24-25-1 since taking over as head man in Saskatchewan December 19th, 1986. Ted Heath, one of the offensive assistants. Best kicker in football right now, Lee?
Well, if I was going to start a team, I wouldn't mind having him as my kicker. John Gregory had a race off from our little meeting yesterday to watch his son play a high school game, and the son of a former Saskatchewan great, Alan Ford, is helping us out on the broadcast this afternoon, doing some stats for us. Young Robbie Ford, the quarterback for Campbell Collegiate here in Regina.
Yeah, now, Campbell came up a little short yesterday.
I know. Robbie's not in a good mood. His dad was in a good mood yesterday, though. Big crowd he expected today, and they got it.
Saskatchewan into the lead with 10:56 to go in the opening quarter at Taylor Field. A big football afternoon for both the Calgary Stampeders and the Saskatchewan Roughriders, with second place in the Western Division of the CFL, hanging in the balance of this one here today and next Sunday's game at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. This is Hopkins on the return. Ron Hopkins cuts across at the 30, has openings on the far side, and gets out near the 47-yard line before he's dragged down. Bresciani leading the Saskatchewan tacklers that time, so good field position for Calgary once more.
Well, Ronnie Hopkins, second in the league in the kickoff returns, always seems to give his team good field position. You know, he has good memories. The first game of the season here, he had a 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. He is having himself a great year. Terrence Jones, he's just really getting his feet wet and adjusted to the Canadian Football League. He is going to be the starter. And
Jones on the option play as he swings it out for Lorenzo Graham. The Roughriders read it well. That was Eddie Lowe, number 42, making the tackle. A loss of 2.
And Larry Hogue, number 3, a former Calgary Stampeder, really made a good play as well. You know, the option play is tough. You play a game with that defensive back. Watch Terrence Jones. Now, if the defensive back goes out to Graham, he'll carry it. If the defensive back takes Terrence Jones, he pitches it. But Eddie Lowe, boy, oh boy, what a play he made. 7 years from Alabama, Eddie Lowe.
Loss of a couple. This is 2nd and 12. Stampeders at their own 45. Jones will throw if he gets time. He doesn't. Klingbeil, Chuck Klingbeil, number 99, was through. And Vince Goldsmith was there as well.
Well, we must point out that James Curry is not playing today. He had his knee scoped earlier in the week and just a little too swollen to get back in the line. Of course, he is their sack leader, and Chuck Klingbeil is taking his spot. Only his 3rd game he's played in this year, and comes up with his 2nd sack of 1989.
Brent Manich on 3rd down. Big charge. It is blocked. Saskatchewan Roughriders come up with a football. Dan Payne got through to block it, I believe, and number 91, Tuane Alapate, comes up with a loose ball on the block kick.
What a break for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Mattis just really doesn't take too long. They just didn't get the blocking up front. Dan Payne with the block and the turnover.
First down, Roughriders. Austin looks for the end zone. Jeff Fairholm. Quickly, the Roughriders score on the turnover. A 29-yard touchdown toss from Ken Austin to Jeff Fairholm.
Jeff Fairholm is having himself a whale of the year. He's missed a few games with hamstring problems, but he is back in the lineup. That's his 11th touchdown. He still has an outside shot at a 1,000-yard receiving season, which I'm sure he'd love to have. 21 touchdowns in 2 years now for Jeff Fairholm. Boy, is he everything that they hoped he would be when they made him the first pick last year in the draft.
David Ridgway adds to the Roughrider total. Fairholm puts the Roughriders into a 10-0 lead on the Calgary Stampeders at Taylor Field this afternoon. Jeff Fairholm has the touchdown and enough yardage to surpass last year's total when Fairholm had a great rookie season. So he is over the total of last year, and he's missed 3 games this year.
Yeah, he had a bad hamstring. He said it's feeling much better this afternoon when you and I chatted with him before the game, and he really is a tremendous performer. There you see the numbers, 11 on the year, 21 in 2 years. Boy, oh boy, you like to take advantage of that turnover in a hurry. They didn't waste much time. 29-yard touchdown for Jeff Fairholm.
Roughriders have had some difficulty with their 2A slot backs this season. Fairholm missed 3 games, and now Ray Elgard is out with knee problems.
They got a lot of guys out with knee problems.
On the return for the Stampeders, Ronnie Hopkins actually tripped around the 25. Brian Walling pinning him there. And the Stampeders will start a little deeper in their own zone.
Pretty quick scoring drive.
Had 4 seconds left. 1 play.
It'll take him 16 seconds to run 29 yards or what? So Danny Barrett comes in already after 2 series. Terrence Jones could not move the club, and Danny Barrett, who was the CFL Offensive Star of the Week last week in their big win over BC, Larry Coherick did not waste any time getting him in the game.
First down, Calgary. Almost picked off. Harry Skipper almost had his 5th of the year. And he might have been gone.
Oh, he would have been gone. And that's the second big play he's made in the first quarter. He anticipates as well as any corner in the league. Harry Skipper been around for 7 years, 4 now with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And that's a pass that Danny Barrett better be pretty careful when he throws.
8:40 to go in the opening quarter, Saskatchewan.
Danny did agree with me, though, when we chatted in the CFL report that Larry Willis would have to be a key factor for them down the stretch.
This is 2nd and 10, and Tim Petros stopped short of a first down. Vince Goldsmith making the tackle that time, number 70. So the Stampeders offense has sputtered a little bit on the first 3 possessions here, no matter who has been a quarterback.
Well, that's a good front. That's a tough front 4 to run a draw into. The 2 tackles, Gary Lewis and Chuck Klingbeil, really are bull pass rushers straight up the middle, and they're tough guys to turn out on that draw.
Albert Brown, the lone deep man for Saskatchewan. Matic gets a rush, but gets it away. Brown at the 40, and 1 yard further. Andy McVeigh leading the Stampeder tacklers. He was waiting for Albert Brown.
Fans calling for no yards, and I think they might have a claim to that one.
Ken Austin, good start for the afternoon. Quick touchdown to Jeff Fairholm the last time he touched the football. First down, Saskatchewan at the 41. Mitchell Price, number 74, came through. A flag is down.
Holding.
What did you spot down there, Eagle Eye?
Decline.
Holding on number 44, Roger Aldag. I didn't think Roger, after 14 years, he could do it a little more secretly than get caught.
I guess they don't catch him very often. Not for a guy who's won a couple of Shenley Awards. Ross on 7. Austin on 2nd and 17 to the far side for Sean Daniels. And the pass was off mark. David McCrary was covering.
Oh, Ken Austin's having himself a great year. He's just thrown his 14th touchdown pass here in the first quarter. And when you look back to his first couple of years, 1987 and 88, he only threw 11 total in those 2 seasons. So you really get a good indication of how well he has played.
First punt for Terry Baker. It's a rocket. McCrary chased back to the 20. Has a good return going now. McCrary dragged down. Good tackle by Alapate at the 47.
Well, the Stampeders have had great field position to start every drive this afternoon, and David McCrary gets them good field position with this good punt return. Stampeders do a nice job on kickoff and punt returns. All the guys work hard to get some blocks, and they have certainly some good guys running back with Ronnie Hopkins and David McCrary. Nice job there. Alapate, who is a tremendous athlete, made the tackle.
Great kick for Terry Baker, 53 yards. Great return from McCrary, 28. It is a first down for the Stampeders. Dan Barrett at quarterback. Harry Skipper, tight coverage on Zeno.
I think they better start going to the other side in a hurry. Harry's had 3 chances, and he's been equal to the task on all occasions. Mark Zeno playing in his 6th game for the Stampeders. Of course, he too from Tulane University, as is Terry Jones, and they set a lot of records there. 2 of those guys played at university.
They played together at university. They also played together in high school.
That's right.
2nd and 10, Stampeders. Barrett has time and now decides he'll carry himself. He's short of the first down. Alapate is having a pretty good game at middle linebacker. We've mentioned him a number of times. Flag down, though. Hang on 1 second.
Objectionable conduct. Calgary number 8. 3rd down.
Hey, Barrett, what did he do?
I don't know. Must have said something.
6:26 to go in the opening quarter. The Roughriders lead it 10-0 in the Calgary Stampeders, and the Stamps will kick it away once more. Bouncing for Albert Brown near the 30. Now Skipper is back. Not much of a return. It's actually Brian Walling jumping on a bouncing football on the punt return. John Hoffman getting attended to on the sidelines. The Roughriders in front by 10. Coach Larry Kuharek and the Stampeders down 10-0 to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The last time we saw these 2 teams here, it was Calgary building up the big lead and Saskatchewan rallying in the final moments to win the first game of the season.
Yeah, it was a heartbreaker for them, and they went on to lose their 2nd game of the season before they got things sorted out. And Calgary Stampeders currently at 9-6 mark, and I think Coach Q has done a nice job with this team. I like the way they brought in a few veteran guys like Howard Fields and Danny Barrett. Mixed them in with some really good young talent like Brock Smith and, of course, Larry Willis, 3 times now, 1,000-yard pass receiving season. They've done a nice job. And while we're handing out the kudos, I guess we should give one to Normie Kwong.
He's done a good job with the Calgary Stampeders this year. He says,
what did he tell you the other day? No, this was good. I like this one.
This was a great Normie Kwong line. I said, how did you get this team rolling so well? He said, Oriental ingenuity and cheap North American labor.
I love it. That's great.
First down, Saskatchewan. And that's Sean Daniels with the football. Warnock up to make the stop. 44 sacks by the Calgary Stampeders up front this year. 10 by Kent Warnock, 10 by his partner on the left side, Eugene Beliveau. 1 so far this afternoon. No gain for Daniels, 2nd and 10. Austin over the middle. Should be a first down for Kenny McCray. Ken Ford making the stop. McCray has the first down.
That's why he's the league's leading all-purpose back. I mean, he catches the ball so well. 57 receptions so far for him. He averages almost 10 yards every time he catches one. And boy, what a valuable guy he is in their offense.
First down for the Roughriders. Austin in trouble, and he's down. 1 more sack for the Stampeder total. 1 more for Kent Warnock. Number 93, that's his 11th.
The Warrior, number 93, tried to play a few games with a broken bone in his foot. Finally decided that it was better to just take off a few weeks, let the thing heal, and he has had some kind of year. Originally the first pick of the Stampeders in 1986, decided to try his luck with Pittsburgh, and the NFL could not make it, came back, and he has turned out to be a good one.
Second in a bunch for Saskatchewan. Kent Austin needs 18 yards. He goes to Narcisse. It is intercepted. Picked off by Howard Fields, in and out of the hands of Don Narcisse. Third interception of the season for Fields. Big break for the Stampeders. They needed one.
They really did need a break, John. Howard Fields with his third interception of the season. Key acquisition when they were able to pick him up from the Hamilton Tiger Cats at the beginning of the season. You see the tip. Pretty good throw by Austin. Can't put it in there any better than that. Don Narcisse could not hang on, and Howard Fields with the turnover.
On the exchange, it is a first down for the Stampeders at the Saskatchewan 48. Calgary trailing 10-0. Barrett pumps once, looks long. Larry Willis, the intended receiver. Skipper covering.
My, oh my, Harry Skipper is having himself some kind of hat. Great coverage 4 times in a row. Now there's Howard Fields. 9 years from Baylor University. Harry Skipper having a great first half. Tried to run an out and up. He would not bite on the out move from Larry Willis. No way they would complete that one.
Second and 10. Stampeders at the Roughriders 48. 3:55 to play in the opening quarter. Quickly over the middle. Oh, and Lorenzo Graham. Should have had that one, Leeper.
Eddie Lowe on the blitz comes right up the middle. Danny Barrett has to unload quickly. They had the perfect play called the perfect read to Lorenzo Graham, and he usually makes those kind of catches. He has been a really reliable back out of the backfield receiving this year. Here's Eddie Lowe, and you see Lloyd Fairbanks just can't get over in time. Danny Barrett takes the hit, but he threw the ball certainly well enough that Lorenzo Graham should have had it.
Brett Maddich standing at his 52. The Saskatchewan 7. Bouncing and no run back for Brown as it trickles out near the 13.
That's a great kick. Brett Maddich. Distance means nothing. You want to pin them deep in their own end, and he did a nice job to get that out of bounds. Albert Brown is a dangerous punt returner. We told you earlier, a couple of touchdowns already.
Albert Brown's had a pretty good 5 weeks, too. Punt return touchdowns and an interception return for a touchdown against the BC Lions.
Not bad at all. Kid Austin, well, he set a club record a few weeks ago when they played the Calgary Stampeders. 492 yards passing. He likes playing against this club.
First and 10 for the Roughriders. Saskatchewan beginning at the 13. John Daniels, hard running inside for Daniels. Matt Finley was there. This is Daniels' first start as a Rough Rider. He's in for Milson Jones.
5'11", 240 pounds. Peter Watts asked him in the CFL report, "You've got big shoes to fill today playing for Milson Jones." He said, "If I can do half as well as Milson, I'll be doing all right." I can agree with that.
Daniels grabbed a couple. This is 2nd and 8 to go for the Rough Riders at the 15. And Austin will put it up, and he gets a chance. He completed the pass, but lost a couple of yards. And McRae made the catch, and Saskatchewan will be kicking.
The tank. Doug Landry comes right up the middle. Both teams being effective with the blitz here in the first quarter. He gets through scot-free, and Ken Austin actually makes a heck of a play to get away from the tank. You watch, he gets up and he still gets in on the tackle. He is having a super year. Leads the league in tackles with 103, and that really becomes significant when you understand that the second place in tackles is Greg Battle with 89. Tank way out in front in that department.
Terry Baker across the Rough Rider goal line to get a low kick away. This is Darcy Kopp, the short man on the return, and Kopp gets inside the 30. Stopped by Mark Ernest and Tuane Alapate on the sideline. On a beautiful afternoon at Taylor Field, here's Peter Watts.
All right, John, a lot of pretty good players still on the sidelines because they're injured for Saskatchewan. James Curry tells me he could have played today, but you're in a little bit of an interesting situation here. What can you tell us about it?
Well, it was just one of those things where they were forced to make some roster moves a couple of weeks ago when I initially got hurt, and I wasn't too appreciative of the one I had to take, so I just went on waivers and cleared waivers, and now I'm a free agent standing around watching games.
Two nice a day for you to play today. You like it when it's dirty and cold and wet and miserable and everything else.
Well, I'm one of those tough weather players. You know, that's the type of game I play. But right now I'm unemployed and not playing. But you know, it's fun watching for a change.
The knee is going to be all right, James, and you're probably going to play some more football this season.
The knee is sound right now. You know, nobody gave me a call, so you know I just have to wait and see with what the Riders going to do or someone else is going to do. Right now, I'm just enjoying this afternoon and hoping to get back into some action somewhere soon.
Leading the league in sacks. I think you can still play. Thanks for coming back.
Thanks, Pete.
Okay, John.
2nd and 10 for the Stampeders. Danny Barrett trying to escape. Can he get the first down? Barrett very close to first down territory. Richie Hall forcing him out. Let's see where they spotted, Leaf.
Boy, pretty good speed by Bobby Jerson to try and run him down from behind, but I tell you, the Calgary Stampeders, I think every possession so far in the first quarter, they've had 2nd and 10. I mean, they just cannot keep doing that all day long. Well, Danny Barrett, the 3rd leading rusher on the club this year, and of course, this is what he has to do so many times for their offense to be successful. Much the same as the Damon Allen in Ottawa.
Tough to find receivers in the open. Tight coverage. Richie Hall is the injured Saskatchewan player, delaying things on the field at this particular time. Okay, Coach Pedersen, what do you do here? 3rd down, less than a yard to go. You're gambling, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, down 10-0. I give it to Lorenzo Graham, and with any luck, he'll pick up the first down.
Less than a yard necessary for the conversion this time. 1:19 to go. The opening quarter, and Saskatchewan leading Calgary 10-0. Barrett lost the ball. Now he may not get the first down. Bad exchange from center. Stampeders have had some difficult times so far this afternoon.
Well, I don't think there's any way they picked up the first down on that one, and the expression on Larry Kuharek's face tells it all. Danny Barrett with a terrible exchange from center. You know, boy, you see that on 3rd and short happen so many times. You're so excited to make sure and get behind the right guard and get your first down that you just forget to take the ball with you.
See, now I would have kicked the field goal there, played it safe.
Sure you would have. You're lying. You would have gone for it, too. Anyway, that counts as a turnover, and Larry is not happy with that one.
On the other side of the field, at Taylor Field, John Gregory. Not smiling, but certainly breathing a sigh of relief on the turnover. Saskatchewan, 1st and 10. Roughriders at the 17. This is Sean Daniels. Matt Finley in on the stop once more. Daniels has been a busy runner for the Roughriders today.
I was just thinking that, you know, they've given him a lot of work so far in the first quarter. In fact, I'm sure he's carried the ball more than Timmy McRae has.
Gain of a couple. This will be 2nd and 8 for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, leading by 10 with 33 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Austin stands in there, fires for Don Narcisse. Nice catch. Big hit by Junior Thurman, but Don Narcisse hangs on, and it is a first down for the Roughriders.
Boy, both teams have been faced with so many 2nd and long situations in one quarter of football. Ken Austin finally connects on one, and Don Narcisse, who's been the big play man all season long for the Roughriders, makes a nice catch over the middle. First time in his career he's been over 1,000 yards. There you see the numbers on him. Add 2 more catches to that total.
Fumble, and the Stampeders get a shot at it. Looks like they might have recovered. The exchange between Austin and Daniels, and maybe that's Kent Warnock at the bottom of the pile. Well, it is a Stampeder, definitely. Turnover goes the other way.
It was Eugene Beliveau that actually comes up with it, but you can't really see from that angle. Actually, it was Warnock, but you can't see from that angle. I think he was pitching it to Timmy McRae, but he just happened to hit Sean Daniels with the ball.
That is the end of the opening quarter at Taylor Field. Stampeders will begin the second quarter with good field position on the turnover. And a deficit of 10 points that they'll try and catch up on Saskatchewan.
First and 10 Stampeders on the Rider 22.
First and 10 for the Stampeders at the 22. Pressure on Barrett. He gets it away. Larry Willis inside the 5. In front of Albert Brown.
Now the mark of a receiver, of course, is the 1,000-yard plateau. Larry Willis now has accomplished that 3 years in a row. Has caught a ball in every single game he's ever played for the Calgary Stampeders. Nice job to turn Albert Brown around. You know, that's a super move. Work up that left outside shoulder, and then when Brown turns his hips, you cut underneath him. Good throw by Danny Barrett. And it looks as though they may take advantage of that turnover.
First and goal to go. Stampeders at the Saskatchewan 3. Barrett looks to the end zone and fires. Lorenzo Graham, number 33, was the intended target.
Good pressure on Danny Barrett that time.
Barrett has taken some pretty good hits this season, hasn't he?
Boy, he really has. You know, I find him so similar to Damon Allen in Ottawa that they are great courage in standing in that pocket, but have both taken so many hits. That time Eddie Lowe came through free. And
second and goal to go. Stampeders at the Saskatchewan 3. Barrett rolling to his right this time. Can he get outside? No! Big play by Eddie Lowe.
Eddie Lowe has had a great first half. He's come through on the blitz a few times, had a good pressure on the last play, and now gets Danny Barrett with the sack in the backfield. And, well, you know, when Danny Barrett went on the rollout there, he was thinking run all the way. And Eddie Lowe, who is extremely quick himself, just wouldn't allow him to get the outside. Well, that's great speed. Well, you know, we talk about it week after week. If there's one area in the Canadian Football League that really excels, it's the linebacking on every team.
17-yard field goal try for Mark McLaughlin. And easily through. McLaughlin's 44th field goal of the season. He's been hitting on a 74% clip.
And with that field goal, he ties the club record formerly or held by JTA with 181 points. So the next time he gets 1 point, as you see there, he will have the record all to himself.
Stampeders have come up with two pretty good young kickers over the past couple of seasons, Leaf. They have Fred Matic currently leading the league for average as their punter at 42-4. Mark McLaughlin with lots of points, beating an old teammate's record. What a great day for football in Saskatchewan. Just the way you remember all October days when you played here, right?
Absolutely. I never had a cold day in Regina. This is my kind of weather here. You know how I feel about the cold.
Yeah, you don't like it much.
That's right.
Now, here's the quarterback on the kick return. Jeff Bentram, third-string quarterback. And he's decked at the 30. Seeing his first action of the year as the designated import this afternoon is number 1, Jeff Bentram.
He's actually listed as a backup running back, and that hand is for Jeff Bentram coming off the field. You hear? We'll do a little of that today. Return some kicks, maybe return some punts.
You used to return some punts in Saskatchewan, didn't you?
Return a whole lot of them in Saskatchewan when there was no blocking.
First down for the Roughriders. McCray, the intended receiver, and the interception possibility was there for David McCrary.
David McCrary's had a nice year, too. 4 interceptions, a couple of sacks on safety blitzes. 3 years he's been around, and that's a pretty good secondary the Calgary Stampeders have put together. All imports, and that's the first time they have done that this year. Junior Thurman is in the middle at the middle safety spot with the return of Chris Major out to the corner.
10-3, the Roughriders lead the Stampeders. This is 2nd and 10, Saskatchewan. Austin looking long. Bresciani, the intended receiver. McCrary had another shot at an interception.
Well, I can't believe every single possession for each team seems like it's 2nd and 10, 2nd and 10.
flag down, back at the line of scrimmage.
Outside, Calgary number 93. Second down repeated.
So David McCreary might have had that, but going to get another shot at it. Calgary offside.
Kent Warnock was caught that time, getting the jump. It'll be 2nd and 5. Saskatchewan now at the 35. Tim McCray, and he'll be short of the first down. He needed to reach the 40-yard line. Finley has had a pretty good afternoon too, Leaf. He's in on another tackle there. 11:47 till halftime. Terry Baker on 3rd down. He'll step across the 25 to get this one away. And he faked it. And he looked for Bentram, overthrowing Jeff Bentram. Could be a costly turnover for Saskatchewan.
Well, I tell you, I really don't agree with that call, and you hate to second-guess head coaches, but deep in your own territory, you're only up by 7 points. You know, you don't want to let a team get back into a game through some kind of error like this, and really that was a ball that...
He hurried the pass, too, didn't he?
Jeff Bentram had no chance catching that one. Oh, boy, that'll go as, of course, a turnover. I don't know. Great when you make them, but not good that time.
See, now, John Gregory would have been the smartest guy in the history of Canadian football had that one worked. We'll be right back. Who is the loneliest man in all of Taylorfield this afternoon at this particular time? Could be John Gregory after that 3rd down gamble didn't pay off.
It's going to be Ron Cherkis, his special teams coach, who you just saw to the left of him. Did John Gregory get talked into that one?
We'll have to wait and see till after the game.
We thank the people in Regina for that hello. And we are truly happy to be here this afternoon.
What a day. What a beautiful day. It is in sunny Saskatchewan.
They are great fans. Boy, I love playing here. The fans were absolutely super.
They do take their football a little bit seriously around here, don't they? 1st and 10. Stampeders after the turnover at the 37. Saskatchewan gets a bit of a break as Lorenzo Graham slips on the pitch out, and he's pinned by Eddie Lowe. Big loss there.
Well, Eddie Lowe has been everywhere that a Calgary ball carrier has been this afternoon. Lorenzo Graham, a huge addition to this team this year. Of course, he'd been with the Toronto Argonauts, could not unseat, of course, Gil Fennerty for that running back position. Toronto did him a great favor, sent him out to Calgary, where they have been truly happy with his performance.
2nd and 18 for the Stampeders. 4th down, back to the 44. Barrett swinging it out to Tim Penrose. Penrose is tripped up. He's back to the original line of scrimmage.
Guess who was there?
I missed the
Guess
number.
who was there?
Tank.
Nope. Eddie Lowe.
Eddie Lowe.
As he has been.
What am I saying? Tank. Eddie Lowe.
If Tank was there, we'd have an investigation.
We'd have a problem, wouldn't we?
Boy, the Saskatchewan defense has played well this afternoon.
10:38 till halftime. A 42-yard field goal try coming up. Make it 47 yards. McLaughlin is wide. Stampeders grab a single point.
What a way to get the record.
Yes, on a wide field goal.
He gets the record on a wide field goal.
But it was from 47 away.
With the rule that I hate the most.
A single point.
On a missed field goal. Rewarding failure once again. Oh, well.
Okay, Peter.
All right, guys, I have Alan Ford, the general manager of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, with me. Alan, what's your thoughts on the Curry situation from management standpoint?
Well, James was not able to play, and we waived James. He's technically a free agent, and we've had some discussions with him. As soon as he's ready to come back and play, that he'll come back and be with the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
How long do you think that might be?
Well, we look for maybe he'll be ready to play next week in Calgary.
We got a pretty good football team that can't play right now because of all the injuries.
Well, we've had a lot of guys who have been lost through injury during the year, but you just got to play above it, and the guys our substitutes that we're putting in are playing like first stringers and playing great.
Thanks for coming by.
Okay, Peter.
John?
Big play for Timmy McRae. Watch again here.
And that all-purpose yardage just keeps adding up. Timmy McRae, 26-yard catch. Good moves after he catches the football. Howard Fields finally with the tackle. But for once, they get good production on a first down play, which has not been the case for either team this afternoon.
First down. McRae carries again across the 45 to the 44, maybe 1 yard. McRae 3 catches on the afternoon for 37 yards. He has been more effective as a pass receiver than a runner so far today.
Well, the running game is a huge part of the Saskatchewan offense. They're third in the league at rushing the football. Timmy McRae, of course, 1,000-yard year.
Second down, for Narcisse. First down and a big hit by the tank. Doug Landry lost his turret. First down, Saskatchewan.
Well, if you give Ken Austin that kind of time to throw, he certainly will pick out a receiver downfield. And what a catch Donnie Narcisse makes on this one. Big hit from the tank. Hangs on to the football. You know, he had such a disappointing year last year, Don Narcisse, with the stress fracture of the leg, and came back with such high expectations in 1989 and fulfilled all those expectations.
On first down, James Ellenson, first catch of the day, has 5 yards.
The Duke. James Ellenson, of course, playing for the injured Ray Elgard. His 11th catch. Still looking for his first touchdown. There's the tank. 103 tackles, the league leader. They've got some pretty good depth out here in Regina. You lose a guy like Elgard and James Ellenson, who can step into the lineup. 6'1", 190 in his 4th year from UBC. They have also Rob Bresciani, pretty good reserve slot back.
They mark it a gain of 8 yards. This will be 2nd and 2. And McRae has tough running inside once more. Into the middle against Price and Beliveau and Doug Landry. It is not that easy. The Stampeder defense. All right. Coach Pedersen, are you gambling again here? Is a better gamble than Saskatchewan's last gamble?
Well, we talked about what factor would be with not having Wilson Jones in there on the short yardage situations, and we're going to find out because they're a good yard and a half away.
Third down, Tim McRae lost the ball. And the Stampeders have recovered. Junior Thurman. And it bounced right to his feet, so the Stampeder defense bends a little bit, but it does not break. Calgary takes over on down.
Well, Timmy McRae did a nice job up and over the foul and certainly would have had the first down, but he coughs it up, and another turnover here in the first half.
7:09 to play. Saskatchewan in front, 10-4. Tim McRae fumbling on his last carry. Turnover going to Calgary.
Well, he did a nice job up and over the pile, and I'm sure would have had the first down, but the hit by Doug Landry knocks the ball loose, and Junior Thurman there with the fumble recovery. Boy, the game really has had no flow with all these turnovers. It seems like everybody's been 2nd and 10, and there you see 8 turnovers. And that is the reason why we've only had 14 points scored in total.
Saskatchewan in the lead, but leading in turnovers. That doesn't always happen. Roughriders out in front 10-4 with 7:07 to play till halftime. Stampeders with a first down, beginning this drive at the Calgary 13. Lorenzo Graham. Graham gets to the outside and almost to the 20-yard line. Larry Hogue making the stop for Saskatchewan.
Missed the game last week. A few weeks ago, he'd taken a hit in the mouth and had to have some surgery done, oral surgery, and Lorenzo could not play last week. But back this week, they need him in the lineup. He's the back that they really have been missing the last few seasons. Good receiver out of the backfield.
This is 2nd and 4. Barrett should have had the first down as Larry Willis turned to run before he made the catch. Albert Brown was right there, but Willis should have held on to that late.
Boy, that hurts because Glenn Suter was coming on a safety blitz. The offensive line and backs did a super job picking it up. Danny Barrett had time to throw and threw a strike to Larry Willis, who simply wanted to run before he had control. Well, those those are the ones that really hurt, you know, not so much the drop ball, but, you know, the first down, like you get yourself out of a hole. Now Matic has to kick from deep in his own territory, and Saskatchewan will certainly get good field position.
Matic had one blocked earlier. Stampeders get a good bounce on this one. Brown returning. Finds some room down the sidelines. And good field position, as we've mentioned, the results of Calgary's poor production that time. 10-4, Saskatchewan in the lead. Saskatchewan Roughriders a couple of points behind the Calgary Stampeders in the race for second spot in the CFL's Western Division. Rider pride here this afternoon. If Saskatchewan gets a win here today and a win next week against Calgary, the Roughriders can lock up second spot. But Stampeders have a lot to say about it. And it could well go down to the final week of the season. Calgary playing BC in the final week of the season. Saskatchewan, tougher assignment against the Edmonton Eskimos. A Rough Rider win today eliminates the BC Lions from the playoff race.
Boy, you know, if you'd asked me a month ago if I thought BC would get back in the hunt, I really would have said, yeah, I think they will. And I just haven't been able to put it together the last few weeks. Of course, bombed last week by the Stampeders, and of course losing last night to the Argonauts. Nice to see Rick Johnson back in the league, and looked like he played reasonably well last night.
First 2 touchdown tosses yesterday. He looked pretty good, didn't he?
Well, if he can get back to some of the form that he had in 1986, well, he will unquestionably help the Argonauts, who have struggled so much on offense this year.
He was an All-Canadian in this league in 1986, Rick Johnson. First and 10. Austin and the Rough Riders. Don Narcisse, the intended receiver. And there was tough coverage in there. Mark Guy was also racing down the far side. Chris Major is tough to beat. And he is back playing enthusiastically for the first time in some time. Major missed 11 games this year.
Well, Donnie Narcisse, with his total yardage this year of well over 1,200 yards now, is 5th highest total in Rider history. Fellows like Chris DeFrance, Joey Walters, they are all in that group.
5:34 till halftime. 2nd and 10 Rough Riders at the Saskatchewan 54. Charges on, and Austin goes down. McCrary led the attack that time, number 3.
Well, he has the most sacks of all the defensive backs of the Calgary Stampeders. That's his 3rd so far this year, and they pick a good spot to do it. 2nd and 10, and he sneaks in from the outside. Simply not enough blockers back there. Timmy McCray couldn't get back in time, and the only one left to pick him up was the quarterback. Not enough guys up there.
Baker for David McCrary on the return. McCrary out to the 35. Sean Daniels leading the Rough Rider tacklers that time. 10-4. I thought we'd see a few more points this afternoon in the first half. There's a long way to go.
Yeah, I thought we would too, but of course, you know, the turnovers just can really slow a game down. We've had, what, 8 of them now, and you just don't get the flow going. And neither team has put any kind of drive together. Saskatchewan scored their only touchdown on one play after a turnover. Jeff Fairholm with a 29-yard touchdown reception.
1st and 10, Stampeders. Dan Barrett begins this drive at the 35. Good fake by Barrett. Fired that for Marshall Toner. And Barrett was off target.
John, I'm really surprised that Calgary has not tried to at least establish some kind of running game this afternoon. They're 4th in the league, and they get around 120 yards a game. Thought that Danny Barrett and Terrence Jones, who started this game, might try and establish that early, but have not gone to the run whatsoever, and consequently they found themselves in a lot of 2nd and 10 situations as they're in now.
Ticats win by 10 this afternoon over the Ottawa Roughriders. Hamilton goes to 10 and 6. Barrett in trouble here. Look for Lorenzo Graham, and Suter was with him all the way. The pass was well off target.
Good pressure. Sorry, John. Good pressure from 79, Gary Lewis, right up the middle. And Danny Barrett has seen a lot of pressure this afternoon from that front 4 and linebackers of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And really no chance to get that completion into Lorenzo Graham. Boy, he takes another good hit. Well, the busiest man for the Stampeders this afternoon, Brent Manich, back in the game.
He'll be thinking about that blocked punt all afternoon, won't he, Leaf?
Oh, yeah, I think he'll speed things up.
Right!
Good kick for Manich. This is Richie Hall, and he's chased right back to the 10. 63-yard kick and a 10-yard return. Dan Wicklum leading the Stampeder tacklers that time.
Nice to see Dan Wicklum back and playing. He had a devastating knee injury last year and worked so hard in the offseason to get it ready. Of course, let go by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and the Calgary Stampeders picked him up. The snapper on third down punts, too.
Another injured Calgary Stampeder being attended to by Pat Clayton. It's Vernell Quinn. Leaf, when you look back over the years you played here at Taylor Field, you remember one catch that you made here above all others, one big catch?
Yeah, it was about a 7-yard quick out, and I remember it because they used it on the calendar the next year.
You never got tackled. You went out, right?
That's right. It was painless. And it was the calendar for a whole year, right on the front cover. I like that one. Still got it in the basement.
First and 10 for Kent Austin and the Roughriders, beginning this drive at the Saskatchewan 20. Austin in trouble. He escapes. Will be short of the first down. Up near the 26. Stopped there by Tank Landry.
Well, something he doesn't really like to do a whole lot is run with the football, but pretty effective there to get away from the rush and at least get 5 yards. Probably the best first down running play they've had all day.
2nd and 5, Roughriders at the 25. Saskatchewan leading 10-4 on the Calgary Stampeders. Austin from McRae, and that is a first down. Hang on, they call it incomplete.
Oh, the hit by Tank Landry knocked the ball loose. And they call that an incompletion. Boy, I thought he caught it initially. But Tank Landry, who is always around the football with some pretty good hits, applies another one. There you see Tank going out as quick as he can. He's got man-to-man coverage on Timmy McRae, and there's the ball loose. That's a good call. So, once again, neither offense has really been able to establish anything this afternoon.
3rd and 5. Terry Baker has this one blocked. And the Stampeders have a shot at the touchdown. They get it. Thurman coming up with a loose football and falling out into the end zone as the Stampeders get a turnover and get back to even with Saskatchewan.
I think Stu Laird, number 75, came in and blocked the punt, and Junior Thurman picks up the recovery with the easy touchdown. And so now each team has a block, and both have resulted in touchdowns. Of course, Saskatchewan had to use one offensive play to get theirs, but Calgary gets the free touchdown here as Junior Thurman gets into the end zone. Stu Laird with the block. Stampeders right back in this one.
Look at it from this angle. Baker knew he was in trouble.
Yep.
Junior Thurman picked it up at the 1 and just fell into the end zone for the Calgary score. With the convert, the Stampeders move out in front for the first time this afternoon. It is 11-10. The Stampeders leading the hometown Roughriders.
Congratulations and thanks.
Man of the moment for the Calgary Stampeders, Stu Laird. He got through to block that kick on Terry Baker. And the result was a touchdown for that man, Junior Thurman.
Well, the Calgary Stampeders have had big plays from their special teams all season long. Kickoff and punt returns have been excellent. That time they get a big play from the special teams for a touchdown. And the way things were going offensively so far in the first half, you kind of had the feeling that the defense or the special teams were going to have to score a touchdown to get things turned around for them.
11-10, the Stampeders in front of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Great crowd at Taylor Field on a sunny October afternoon. You packed the underwear for this trip. You had the mitts, the big heavy parka.
I had everything.
We didn't even need overcoats today.
Absolutely beautiful.
Mark McLaughlin's kickoff, chasing Jeff Bentram right back to the goal line. Bentram has a 15-yard return and lost the football, but it was ruled down as Vernell Quinn made the tackle.
Benny.
2:42 to go till halftime. Kent Austin and the Roughriders down by 1 to the Calgary Stampeders with a first down for Saskatchewan at the 15. Mark Guy coming in. But that play went absolutely nowhere. Hopkins read it well for Calgary. Mark Guy's first catch of the day.
5th start of the season for Mark Guy. Got tremendous speed, 4.3 speed in the 40. He was a defensive back at university for 3 years, and I really believe that helps a receiver when he understands coverages and so forth, and I'm sure it's a benefit to Mark Guy. Only started 1 year at university as a wide receiver.
Went to Tennessee at Martin Leaf.
That's right. Last year he played wide receiver. Now, of course, with the departure of Ray McDonald to the Ottawa Roughriders, Mark Guy getting a chance to be an everyday starter. He's been with the club all year. He was on the practice roster. Can't quite see who the injured Stampeder is. Can you?
It's tough to get the license number. We'll see here. Could be the tank. Number 39, I believe.
That's right. Boy, does he play hard. I mean, he is one tough hombre.
You had to pick out the best middle linebacker in the CFL.
Oh, I knew you were going to do this to me.
Who would it be? Or will you waffle a little bit here and name 4?
Well, you know, like I said in the opening of the show, that if he is not the all-star middle linebacker, I don't know who is. I mean, he has just played superbly, played well last year. He's a leader for the Calgary Stampeders. Boy, there are some good ones, though. You look around.
Danny Bass, James West, guys like that.
Sure. There are a lot of good ones. I'll concede that.
2nd and 10. Austin firing underneath for Jeff Fairholm. It's a big catch for the Roughriders. Junior Thurman makes the stop, and Fairholm gets out to the 35. Saskatchewan needed that one.
Well, they haven't converted too many 2nd and longs this afternoon, but they do this time, and the reason's simple. Good protection for Kent Austin. He can step up in the pocket, and Jeff Fairholm, as good as any inside receiver in the league at reading the zone, and that's quite an accomplishment in only your 2nd year.
On first down, Austin has time to throw it out of sides. He'll carry himself and runs for the first down. At least he's awfully close to it. Out at the 45. Chased out by Tank Landry.
Oh, when you look at Kent Austin's rushing totals for the year, he only averages 2.9 yards a carry. You immediately understand that he does not like to run with the football, but only through necessity, that time forced out of the pocket. Anytime a quarterback averages 2.9, you know that he is not running a lot, and but in this game, he was the leading rusher, so.
Austin from the shotgun on 1st and 10. Sean Daniels, the intended receiver. Howard Fields squashed him.
I just can't believe neither team is running the ball on first down at all in the first half here. Saskatchewan with an excellent running game. They ranked 3rd in the league. Calgary's defense gives up about 120 yards a game rushing, about what Saskatchewan usually gets. I've really been surprised with the game plan for both Kent Austin and Danny Barrett for the Stampeders.
Number 84, Eugene Beliveau. Injured. Chance to play this year. He has responded well.
Well, there's
sacks.
No question in the best year of his 10-year career. He started with the old Montreal Alouettes. 62 consecutive games Eugene has played, and I'm sure he'll be back in a play or so.
2:02 till halftime. It is the Calgary Stampeders in front of the hometown Saskatchewan Roughriders by 1, 11-10. This is 2nd and 10 Saskatchewan. 46. Austin unloads. Don Narcisse can't bring it down. Chris Major covering. He has had an impact this afternoon since returning. Mr. Major has.
Well, we talked about that matchup as well. Chris Major coming back, led the league in turnovers last year, 10 interceptions, 4 fumble recoveries, and that is a good matchup. Don Narcisse having a super offensive year, and Chris Major, one of the better corners in the CFL.
Baker had 1 block for a touchdown. Good kick as McCrary fields it at the 25. McCrary tripped up by John Hoffman. That was a heck of a tackle, Lee. Number 19, John Hoffman from the University of Saskatchewan coming up with a tackle.
Well, it looks as though David McCrary is going to get around the corner, but it's a great effort. Just going to get a little piece right there. Actually got the shoe off, blew a tire and everything.
Skidded to a halt. A minute 45 to go to the half. 1st and 10. Stampeders. Calgary beginning this drive at the 20. Stamps lead it by 1. 11-10. Big pressure on Barrett from Sutter. He was there first. Jurison came from the other side, number 71.
Both teams have really used the blitz effectively this afternoon in the first half. And of course, without a lot of offense, you have to look to the defense and what kind of good things they are doing. Glenn Sutter on the safety blitz gets in with the sack. Eddie Lowe has had some good pressure on the blitz. As well as the Stampeders this afternoon, David McCrary has a sack on a safety blitz. So both defenses pretty effective with that blitz package.
Loss of 13.
Not a good spot to be in. I'm sure Danny Barrett, as a veteran, will not take any chances because the probability of picking this conversion up is not too great.
Hand it off to Lorenzo Graham and see what he can do. It's the best that Barrett can come up with. You don't really want to throw the Hail Mary pass in that stage of things because the Riders can drop back in a zone and wait for it.
I couldn't agree with you more, John. You take the safe way out. You hope your punter gets off a boomer, and only a minute 15 remaining. Your defense has played well. Let's have a look at Tuane Alapate, number 91, who is the middle linebacker. Does a nice job to string it out. Gets double teamed by Lloyd Fairbanks and Dan Ferroni. A lot of experience there blocking one guy. Alapate, a tremendous athlete, is a tight end and a kicker. University, great weightlifter.
Hall is back along with Albert Brown. Brent Maddox stands at his goal line to get this one away. Slight breeze favoring the punter. Maddox had one blocked earlier as well. This is Albert Brown on the return for Saskatchewan. Brown across midfield down to the 52. And a minute 5 left on the clock.
Brought down by 35, Dan Whitman. Yep. That's how I was thinking, right? Saskatchewan's ball for Stampeders.
Time for some points here for Saskatchewan, Lee. A minute 5 to go. Ridgeway range. If Austin can get it away, and he can't. Mitchell Price.
Boy, Mitchell Price is having a good game, too. I believe that's his 2nd sack of the afternoon, and 4 sacks in total for the Stampeders this afternoon. Good hard rush right up the middle. Beliveau and Price. See that move on Bob Foley, and we must mention that Foley is, of course, not the regular right guard. Brian Illebring is out.
Sacked again. Price was there. Warnock was there. Who gets credit?
Yeah, you might have to divide that one up. You know, the Calgary Stampeders don't get a whole lot of credit for their front four, but it really is a good group that works well together. Kent Warnock, Will Johnson are the ends, Bellabo and Mitch Price. Of course, the defensive tackles, good pressure up front. Price flushes Austin up, and Kent Warnock is waiting there for the sack. Mitchell Price having a nice first half.
5 sacks today. 2 in a row, big ones for Calgary, because Saskatchewan had a shot with 1:05 to go to get within Ridgeway range.
And that's a good offensive line they're working against. You know, they protect the quarterback pretty well coming in this afternoon. Only allowed 37 sacks on the season, which ranked 4th in the CFL. Tells you what kind of afternoon that Calgary front four is having.
Not much of a charge on Terry Baker that time. David McCrary takes it at the 22. Vince Goldsmith was there and slowed him down. 19 Hoffman is in there as well once more on special teams. And not much of a return for the Stampeders. 40 seconds remaining. 11-10. Calgary out in front of Saskatchewan.
That's not a good sign. David McCrary hanging onto the ankle. They can ill afford to lose him in the defensive backfield.
Junior football finals today.
Boy, you talk about injuries. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, have they had their share in the last little while? John, we've got Ray Elgard, Brian Illebron, Milson Jones, James Curry. Who else is out?
There's a couple more.
There's more.
Dave Albright.
Yeah.
Eddie Ray Walker.
Oh, yeah. I saw Eddie Ray Walker last night. Had a nice chat with him, and he tells me he should be back in time for the playoffs, and that is good news. Eddie Ray Walker, an excellent defensive back.
It's been a hard-hitting football afternoon at Taylor Field.
Well, you talk to any coach around the league, and you say, which club is the most physical in the league, and they rank the Calgary Stampeders right up there at the top of the list.
Well, there's the game plan right there. And I'm supposing that if we could see it a little more closely, we'd be able to guess at exactly what he was going to do, right?
Well, most of the quarterbacks around the league have that tape to the wrist to consult during the game.
With 40 seconds to go till halftime, Stampeders first down. Calgary beginning this drive at the 31. Big charge on Barrett. He gets it away. Zeno is the intended receiver, number 11.
Once again, the safety blitz with Glenn Suter. They've been in love with that blitz package this afternoon. Calgary did a nice job of picking it up, but Danny Barrett could not find the mark.
Second and 10, 31.
Larry Koharic gave Terrence Jones the quick hook today. Danny Barrett, of course, in.
Barrett has yet to engineer a touchdown drive himself. Barrett is down. Decked once more by Eddie Lowe, number 42. Fourth sack of the season for Eddie Lowe. He's had a big day today.
He really has. I mean, both defenses have played well. They have both blitzed well, and he comes through untouched. And Danny Barrett has had his share of hits this afternoon.
Seconds now until halftime. Managed with a pretty good average on the afternoon, but he had one blocked earlier. Close again. Robert Brown on the return. 8 seconds to go. Matt Finley leading the Stampeder tacklers.
And the tackle was made by 45.
Austin time for one play here. First down at the 53. Austin and the Roughriders trailing the visiting Stampeders by 11-10 as we hit the halfway mark of this one at Taylor Field. This is for Tim McRae. McRae trying to get out of bounds. Now does he? Stops the clock, so 2 seconds remain. And is that in Ridgeway range? I guess they'll take a crack at it, Leaf, anyway.
Well, the wind really seems to have picked up in the second quarter here, John, and that's directly in the face of Dave Ridgeway. He will get an opportunity, but this one will come from about the 51-yard line, 50-yard line.
Ridgeway's longest on the season. Somewhere around 50. He is good on 2 of 5 outside the 50-yard range. And this is right on the 50-yard line. Dave Ridgeway for the lead. Flags are down. Now Ridgeway chopped that one short. Stampeders moved early.
Well, he's going to get another chance.
A little closer range.
Offside. Calgary number 39. First down.
Seconds left. First down, Saskatchewan, but it is up to Dave Ridgeway for the lead. This time from 45 yards out. Ridgeway into a breeze. Into the end zone, and it will not count for a single point either. On the return, Stampeders have Ron Hopkins. And a long run for nothing as Hopkins is stopped by Glenn Suter on the final play of the opening half. 52-yard return goes for nuts as the Calgary Stampeders hang on to a 1-point lead on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. It's halftime at Taylor Field.
Section 12.
We send you back now to TSN Control in Toronto and Michael Landsberg.
Thanks, John. Welcome back to our studios in Toronto. Coming up at 6:30 Eastern Time, we'll have Sports Desk for you. Full review of the day in sport. We'll have all kinds of NFL highlights as well as the CFL highlights. You're watching one game. There are 2 others, including Hamilton and Ottawa, where the Ticats were looking to win and clinch first place in the East. The Ticats trailed this one 14-0 at one time, but at this point they're in total control. 25-14 when Todd Dillon hits Earl Winfield for the score. Hamilton clinches the East. They win 32-22. Now, in the West, it's the Eskimos taking on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the East. Edmonton in control in first place and in control in this game. Tracy Ham unloads to Tony Hunter. That's a beautiful move by Hunter. He takes it down to the 2. They later scored 18-7 at the half for Edmonton. Now, Ham takes a shot and was forced temporarily out of the game right on the ankle right there. You can see why that one would hurt there now in the 3rd, and Edmonton leads 21-8. Don't forget that right now Winnipeg is battling Toronto for 2nd spot in the East. With the Argonauts' victory last night, they are tied pending the outcome of that. Sports Desk comes your way. 6:30 Eastern. We'll have terrific highlights for you then.
The football, 87 feet.
Defense is dominated in the first half here at Taylor Field as we welcome you back to Regina on a glorious Sunday afternoon for a football game. It's the Stampeders, the 11, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders 10 here at halftime. Well, it used to be that Calgary had an awful lot of trouble finding good wide receivers. Then all of a sudden they discovered the Fresno State program. They found yet another one there this year. Here's Teresa Herger.
The winner of the pass competition.
Brock Smith was just a teenager the last time the Stampeders hosted a playoff game. 10 years have passed, and Calgary is desperately trying to hold on to 2nd place in the West. To carry them through their final games of the season, the Stampeders will be looking to players like Brock Smith, a player that's proven to be successful as either a slot back or a wide receiver.
I would prefer playing outside because there's less punishment on the receiver. I won't get hit that much. But playing on the inside, there's also less running, I think. So the routes aren't as longer on the inside as they are on the outside.
When the Stampeders have needed Brock, he's always been there. He's continually come up big in the 2nd and long situation, and he's also developed into a solid 2-way player.
He's an excellent blocker, and I think that helps him in his pass receiving. The defenders are aware that he'll come down and and blocky and choppy on the runs, which make the defenders a little bit vulnerable to play passes and things like that.
He's an excellent receiver. He got good work habits, and I just can't say enough good things about him. He's made some great catches for me as well, and he's having fun. We like him here.
In his last 3 games, Smith has caught 9 passes for 138 yards. His stats don't top the league, but to his coaches, that doesn't matter.
All the things, physical things that he has are there. You know, he just has to learn the CFL game and read coverages and do different things. And one thing he really prides himself on is never making the same mistake twice, and it's held true. He hasn't.
I never do make the same mistake twice. That's something I'm really high on, not making the same mistake twice. I may make another mistake, but it won't be the same one that I made before.
This year, Calgary is no longer content just to make the playoffs. They want home field advantage and realize that either Saskatchewan or BC could play the spoiler.
Well, right now, the team and myself, I think we feel pretty good. We're a lot loose and relaxed, and we're happy now that we're in the position that we're in. And we're just going out playing and having fun and just taking the games as they come right now and try to stay on top, try to stay in second place, and again, try to get that home field advantage.
It's been 10 years since Calgary last staged a playoff game. For Brock Smith and the Stampeders, second place in the West and home field advantage is on the line. In Calgary, I'm Teresa Hergert for TSN.
Thank you, Teresa. Brock Smith did not catch a pass in that first half, and then maybe they'll get him involved in the offense in the next 30 minutes. 11-10, the Stampeders in a tight one lead Saskatchewan at Taylor Field. Lots more still ahead. It is Calgary 11 and Saskatchewan 10 here at halftime. I think we're ready to go to the press box now. Here's John Wells.
Okay, Peter, a couple of minutes with Al Ruckabar of the Calgary Sun as we look towards the playoffs, and it would seem that it will come down to these two teams challenging the Edmonton Eskimos. First, Al, which team do you think will challenge Edmonton in the playoffs?
That's a tough question right now because the Roughriders have had Stampeders' number for 2 games now, and this one's a tough one. I think that Calgary will wind up challenging Edmonton. I think they'll win that semifinal.
So the Calgary Stampeders, you would think, will likely win enough of the final 3 games this season to host the playoffs in Calgary McMahon Stadium for the first time in 10 years?
I think because they have that 1-game edge right now. I think that's quite critical. As what we see out here right now, this is going to be a toss-up, this turnover-plagued game.
So we look at anybody challenging the Edmonton Eskimos this season in Edmonton when we get to the Western Final. We know it will be there. Do you think there's any chance that the Calgary Stampeders will be able to get over whatever problem it is they have? Is it a head problem they have against playing Edmonton?
It's a head problem to begin with, I agree with you. But it's also a problem that every team has in Commonwealth Stadium. They haven't been beaten up there yet this season, I don't believe. They play so well up there, and the Stampeders for so many years have had almost no success in Edmonton. And I think that more than anything else, it becomes a head problem, becomes a psychological thing.
We look at this Saskatchewan team. The offense not exactly brilliant this afternoon, but with all of the Roughriders out there, meaning Elgard and a few other people available for the playoffs, would that be a team that might be able to challenge the Eskimos at Commonwealth?
I think Saskatchewan might have a better chance against the Stampeders. Saskatchewan doesn't seem to hold that same mystique against Edmonton that the Stampeders have. Plus, as we were saying earlier, they have a little more of a spark offensively. And that has been a problem for the Stampeders. We see out here today, they're ahead in this game, but they've had almost no offense. And they tend to go like that. Sometimes they'll come up with a big offensive game. The next time they'll come up flat. You can't come up flat against the Eskimos because they have such a good defense. You have to have all gears in mesh against that Eskimo defense.
Okay, quick thought on who will be at quarterback for Calgary in the second half, and will we see more of Barrett's miracles if in fact it is him?
We were discussing that just before the half. A lot of people were saying maybe they should put Terrence Jones back in. Danny has been very flat today. He's thrown some bad passes. He's been banged up a couple times, really good. I wouldn't be surprised if they do come out with Terrence Jones and let Danny sit back and watch. But that's a coaching decision.
I tell you what, it's easy to coach up here, isn't it, Ruckabar? Al Ruckabar of the Calgary Sun. Thank you very much for joining us. It is halftime at Taylor Field in Regina, and the Stampeders have the lead by a point.
It's the Stampeders 11 and the Roughriders 10 at halftime at Taylor Field on a great Sunday afternoon for football here on the Prairies. Time for some first half highlights now. Leafer, I think if we were picking a star of the game at this point, it would be on defense, but maybe it would be Don Narcisse, who always seems to play well against Calgary.
Now, Peter, I couldn't agree with you more. We are locked in a defensive struggle here at Taylor Field this afternoon, but one fellow who's had a great season and a good first half is Don Narcisse. There wasn't a lot of offense, so what we thought we'd do is put together some of Don Narcisse's catches and try and let you meet him a little closer. He had a tough year in 1988. He had a stress fracture in the leg, only played in 10 games as a Rough Rider, caught 21 receptions. Very frustrating for him and so important in his career for him to come back in 89 and prove to not only his teammates but the entire CFL that he is an excellent wide receiver. Got off to a great start on that catch against Chris Major, who's one of the premier corners in the league. Donnie Narcisse, 3 catches for 84 yards in the first half. And you know what? One of the things that you talk about a receiver, will he go into the middle? And well, I tell you, Don Narcisse does. He's not worried about taking the hits. Here he doesn't. He gets a bit of one from Junior Thurman, but on the next highlight, you're going to see a real pop from the Tank Landry. Don Narcisse on the season now, 74 receptions, 1,288 yards, 11 touchdowns. Everything that the Rough Rider coaching staff expected from him, he has lived up to. It wasn't all bad for the Calgary Stampeders in the first half. They got a big play on special teams. Stu Laird back in the lineup comes through to block a Terry Baker punt. Really poor blocking up front caused that. Terry Baker not slow at all getting that punt off. Junior Thurman, who's making his first start at the middle safety spot this afternoon, gets it into the end zone with the only touchdown for the Calgary Stampeders. Jeff Fairholm had the touchdown for Saskatchewan, and at halftime we're locked 11-10. Peter?
All right, Leaf, thank you for that. Lots more still ahead from Taylor Field. The second half kickoff is next when we come back.
We put the capitals of Europe.
Halftime at Taylor Field in Regina, Saskatchewan. And look at the stats from the first 2 quarters here this afternoon. Saskatchewan with 9 first downs compared to 2 for Calgary. 206 total yards for the Rough Riders and 171 net yards, but the Rough Riders have turned it over too many times, and the Calgary Stampeders lead it by 1. On the opening kickoff, Lorenzo Graham. And Graham gives the Calgary Stampeders pretty good field possession. Larry Hogue making the stop near the 50. Stamps began the opening half lead with good field position on their first 2 drives and were unable to move the football effectively.
Well, if anybody's just tuning in, Danny Barrett did not start the game. Terrence Jones did. He had a couple of possessions before he got the hook from Larry Kuharek. Danny Barrett has gone all the way since then. They have not been overly productive. His numbers are not good, as you see. The Saskatchewan defense has played superbly.
An opening for Barrett. It is closed quickly by Chuck Klingbeil, number 99.
Well, he's filling in for the injured James Curry, and Chuck Klingbeil. He has 1 sack already this afternoon and puts a pretty big hit on Danny Barrett right there. Good coverage in the secondary really forced Danny Barrett to run that time, something that he doesn't mind doing.
Gain of 4, this will be 2nd and 6. Stampeders out across the 50 at their 52. Barrett looks to throw, looks for Marshall Toner. He can't make the catch, flag down on the far side. Coverage supplied by Larry Hogue.
The Rough Riders are doing a great job on defense. They're coming with the blitz all the time, and the defensive backs are coming up close on the receivers at the line of scrimmage, and really tough for Danny Barrett to find any lanes open to throw into, and he is taking a lot of hits this afternoon.
Outside, Saskatchewan number 42. Repeat, second down.
Eddie Lowe got a quick start. So change of events here. Now it is 2nd and 1 for the Stampeders. Lorenzo Graham. Does he have it, Leaf?
It's close. Boy, did Bobby Jurison ever get some penetration quickly. Bobby Layden, who has the glasses on, says he did.
Fortunately, those are his reading glasses, Leaf. I don't know. We'll measure it. Short by a foot.
We better get him a new pair of glasses.
So third and less than a yard to go. What do you do here? Keep it yourself if you're the quarterback?
I would think so. There's nobody behind it.
I guess that was a pretty good call, Lather. I'll give you that one.
That time, Danny Barrett hung on to the football. Earlier in the first half, in the third and short, he fumbled the snap from center. That time, made sure he kept it. Followed the right guard, Tom Spallettini. And
third first down of the afternoon for the Stampeders. They have not come easily, have they?
It has been a struggle on offense for the Stampeders.
Calgary first and 10 now at the 51 of Saskatchewan. Barrett gets pressure, but gets it away. Mark Zeno makes the catch on the far side, and that is a first down in front of Albert Brown.
Good offensive scheme for Danny Barrett. He sends three receivers to the wide side of the field. There you see them. And then Mark Zeno just breaks to the outside. Albert Brown gambles, and he's kind of lucky that Zeno went out of bounds there. First catch of the afternoon for Mark Zeno.
Three receivers to each side of the field, a slightly different formation. There are no running backs in there. Flag is down. This is Tim Petros, and Petros is down. Glenn Suter came up to make a good stop on Petros. There is a flag down.
A unique formation. Nobody in the backfield. Three receivers to both sides of the field. I do believe Chuck Klingbeil jumped offside, number 99 for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Well, hang on.
That's probably why he jumped offside.
Yeah.
Somebody drew him.
Procedure call going against Calgary. Could that have been the way they lined up? This guy's got an early start today, I think. Or perhaps last night.
Second down. All right, let's go. Second down.
12-11 to go in the third quarter.
It's second down.
With the Stampeders leading 11-10.
Out on the pass play to Timmy Petros, they lost the yard, so the Roughriders elect to decline the penalty.
And this will be second and 11.
Oh, they've been in this situation all afternoon. It is tough.
Same formation, Leaf, with three receivers either side. See if Barrett can find one. Over the middle. Perfect toss to Larry Willis, and he's still going. Willis inside the 20, near the 17, stopped by Rasevich.
Larry Willis really runs a good hook pattern here. Comes back to the quarterback. Danny Barrett gets time to throw, and that's the key for him this afternoon. He hasn't had a whole lot of time to throw his passes. And Larry Willis with the nice moves after he catches the football. He has got some speed in the open field.
Third reception. He now has 54 in the afternoon. First and 10, Stampeders at the Saskatchewan 18. Barrett hit as he throws. From behind by Goldsmith. I believe it was Zeno, number 11, the intended receiver. At least he was the closest to the toss.
Once again, Danny Barrett, another hit, big hit as he steps up into the pocket. Seems like all afternoon he has spent on his backside every time he releases the football. And well, that sure takes its toll. Quarterbacks, they do earn their money.
When did you retire as a quarterback?
When did I retire?
Yeah, did you play a little high school quarterback?
Oh, everybody did. I think everybody was a high school quarterback, sure.
Second and 10. Stampeders at the Saskatchewan 18. Flags are down. They whistle this play down. A violation of the time clock. It took too long. Pretty costly for Barrett.
Time count violation. Calgary number 8. Still second down.
There's Tom Corris, who's the third quarterback of the Calgary Stampeders, standing to the left of head coach Larry Kuharek, and he, every so often, will signal and send in some plays for Danny Barrett.
2nd and 15 now for the Stampeders, still at the Saskatchewan 18. Over the middle for Lorenzo Graham. Catchable football, I thought. Did he jump too high?
Lorenzo's had a tough afternoon. You know, I've seen him make some great catches this year, and that was not the best pass he's ever going to have thrown his way, but I thought he could have maybe made the catch here. He'd be the judge. I think that was catchable, and had he caught it, certainly could have run for a first down. The Stampeders need all the help they can get on offense, and it certainly means catching the football.
Rick Maddich will hold for Mark McLaughlin from 29 yards away. Easy shot for McLaughlin as he adds to the Stampeder lead. It is now a 4-point advantage for the visitors from Calgary. Stampeders out in front of the Roughriders, 14-10. Now there's a roll of tape or two. Chuck Klingbeil. Jeff Bentram is number 1. Albert Brown is number 4. Deep for Saskatchewan on this kickoff after the Stampeder field goal.
Well, there's Terrence Jones. He started the game and looks as though he may get an opportunity to come back in once again.
Is Albert Brown chased back to the 2. Nifty little run for Brown. He gets out near the 25. And Matt Finley leading the special team tacklers for Calgary once more. 10-16, third quarter.
The 6th straight start for Matt Finley this afternoon. Has 1 sack on the season. Works those special teams so hard. 3rd year from Eastern Michigan. He has done a nice job at the outside linebacker. Used to play the strong side linebacker. In Calgary's scheme of things, he is on the weak side. And he has adapted to that position pretty well. You'll see him on the short side of the field most of the time.
Timmy McRae, and McRae gets out near the 30. Ken Ford made the stop at that point. Gain of a little better than 5. Saskatchewan trailing the Stampeders by 4 at 14-10. A win today, and the Roughriders get rid of the BC Lions from the Western Division playoff race. From the shotgun, Austin in trouble early now. He escapes and comes up with a first down as he gets out to the 35. No flags for the Roughriders. Move the football once more.
Ken Austin's been effective as a runner this afternoon. Makes a nice move to get away from Tank Landry initially on the blitz. Little spin to get to the outside. Good move, and the 2nd time he's picked up a first down running. I do believe he still is the leading rusher for the Saskatchewan Roughriders this afternoon. 30 yards for Ken Austin, 4 carries. A good average for him.
1st and 10. McRae tripped up in the backfield.
For the life of me, I cannot understand why the guys are falling down this afternoon. You and I, John, took a walk around the field. There is not one.
We didn't fall down once.
We didn't fall down once. There is no wet spots out there, but a number of guys have just gone down. Now, a lot of guys put tape on their shoes and on the bottom, and that can certainly add to making the shoes a little slippery. And there you see all the tape on the shoes they like to put underneath the bottom. I never liked that. I thought it was too slippery with it, but they get a little extra support, I guess.
2nd and 10. Austin will throw if he has time. Now he decides to carry himself, and he slides short of the first down. He'll need a good 2.5 yards for a first down.
Well, I think this is what the Calgary defense would love to see occur a lot in the second half, is Ken Austin running the football. That means that they've had good coverage downfield. And I don't think Ken Austin is going to win this game with his running ability. It's his arm that will be the factor.
8:03 to play in the 3rd quarter at Taylor Field. A beautiful afternoon. Saskatchewan trailing the Stampeders 14-10. Baker on 3rd down. to McQuarrie on the return. McQuarrie ran into Bob Foley, and he was wrestled to the turf at the 40.
The old polecat's got about 3 guys with him wrestling him down there.
Stampeder first down when we return. Looks like it'll still be Barrett at quarterback. Terrence Jones remains on the sidelines. He will learn a little bit more from Dan Barrett. Larry Kuharich hopes, I suppose, at this stage of things. Barrett in relief of Jones. Jones warming up a few moments ago, but it will be Barrett leading the Stampeders on this drive.
Danny Barrett has 5 touchdowns personally this year rushing. In his career, 7-year career before that, he had accumulated 2. So he's having a good year. It's simple as this, as he told me, and logically it's the matter of playing time. You get some time to play, you can improve. He's got a nice job with Calgary. Not having a great day today, but over the course of the year, I think they've been very happy to have had Danny Barrett on their team.
Here's this formation again with 3 receivers to each side, no backs, at least no running backs in the backfield. Barrett throws to the far side, and Larry Willis is scooting for the touchdown. A 70-yard touchdown for Larry Willis. What do you call that formation, Lee?
Looks like the old run and shoot. That's nothing new. They just decided, you know, it's what they would call a hot offense where there's no backs in to protect. If they blitz, somebody better be looking in a hurry. They do good job of protecting for Danny Barrett that time, and he throws a strikeout to Larry Willis. Little coverage mix-up. I do believe Larry Hogue had the deep outside. He did not get there in time, and nobody's going to catch Larry Willis. We talked about him, John, having to be a factor for the Stampeders in the stretch run, and he comes up with a big play. He's made some good catches this afternoon.
10th touchdown of the season for Larry Willis. And no mistake about it as Willis goes 70 yards for that one. Single point is good by Mark McLaughlin. And the Stampeders lead the hometown Roughriders by 11 at 21-10.
Larry Willis, who has caught a ball in 53 consecutive games now as a Calgary Stampeder. He's an exciting player. Really been surprised with Saskatchewan's offense this afternoon. It seems like there's not been a great deal of imagination to it. The running game that they always like to establish has not been there. Maybe it is the absence of Wilson Jones.
They tried running a little bit with Sean Daniels in the opening half. Daniels was fairly well restricted to a couple of yards per carry. Down for Albert Brown inside the 5. Here's his return. Brown finds a little bit of a hole, and he's dragged down at the 35 from behind by Fields, number 16. Good return, 35 yards. Good field position for Saskatchewan. It's up to the offense now. Let's see what the Roughriders can do offensively.
Well, the bad news is you trail by 11. The good news, it's only 11.
That's true. And
I mean, that is not a lot of points for this man to get back and hurry, Ken Austin. We have seen him put a lot of completions together in a hurry.
Ellingson has a first down. Nifty little catch. Tackled by Ron Hopkins. An 11-yard gain. The Duke.
Now, the Duke can't be tired of first one, Kenny. It's at
11 yards.
I don't think he's hurt.
Well, he's out for one play anyway. James Ellingson, number 85. That'll bring in Rob Bresciani on the sidelines. Tom Burgess waiting his opportunity.
Feel sorry for Burgess. You know, Ken Austin did start the season as the #1 quarterback. Burgess, of course, took over and got off to such a great start this year. It seems like he's been on the 20-touchdown mark for about 2 months now.
Well, he lost his starting role.
And this was the people's choice in Saskatchewan, Ken Austin.
Ken Austin, he started the season, as Leaf mentioned. Burgess came in against the Calgary Stampeders. in the first game of the year and won it for Saskatchewan in the dying moments. Flip to the wide receiver, Mark Guy, and Guy with great speed going nowhere. Back to the line of scrimmage is all he can get.
That's a nice thing about the Calgary defense. You know, they just, every single player does his job. In that particular case, with outside contain, just would not allow Mark Guy to get around the corner. Nobody tries to overplay. Good defense.
Loss of 1, 2nd and 11, Saskatchewan. Now at the 47. Austin will throw. He gets an opportunity. Tim McRae is well short of the first down.
Calgary defense has really mixed it up this afternoon. So many times on 2nd and long, they have come with the blitz in the first half. Now in the third quarter, they decided to just rush the 4-down lineman. Good protection for Austin, but the linebackers get a nice deep drop and then come up, and Tank Landry makes the good hit. I mean, they have done a good job on defense, and I think for the most part have confused Kent Austin.
Another Stampeder linebacker is down. That's Ken Ford, number 97.
Hollywood, we haven't talked about him much this afternoon. Western All-Star last year, and a big part of their defense.
Best bet, he'll be back. 5:40 to play in the third quarter with the Stampeders in front of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 21-10. Terry Baker.
Notice how the Calgary defense, the punt rush is loosened up just a touch after Baker threw that one when they're not really trying to put the big rush on them.
I'm ready, aren't you?
I'm ready.
David McQuarrie drops back to his 15. 5-yard return. Jeff Bentram leading the Rough Rider tacklers. Number 3 string quarterback for Saskatchewan getting his chance to play a little bit this afternoon. The Tank Doug Landry in some pain down there. Pat Clayton working on his right ankle.
Well, they sure don't need this injury to the linebacker, Tank Landry. You can see in the upper right-hand quarter, he's just went down. Nobody hit him. He just fell down on his own and possibly twisted his ankle. You know, I've seen Tank riding around on the ground so many times before, and I thought, gosh, he's never going to come back into the game now. And, boy, so many times he just goes off to the sidelines, catches his breath, and puts the hurt away. I mean, he is a guy that can play with a tremendous amount of pain. The pain threshold must be enormous.
Into the final 2 weeks of this 1989 CFL regular season, the Blue Bombers and the Ottawa Roughriders from Winnipeg Stadium next Sunday afternoon at 2:30 Eastern.
Section 106, row 8, seat number 10.
5:14 to play. In the third quarter, Stampeders, 1st and 10. They begin this drive at the 21. And Barrett begins it successfully with a strike out at the 35 to Brock Smith, number 85.
Same set they're using, 3 receivers to both sides of the field. Nobody in the backfield but Danny Barrett. Brock Smith, you'll see number 85, just curls into the open area. Good strike by Barrett. Boy, he took another big hit when he released that football from Chuck Klingbeil. Brock Smith also from Fresno State, as is Larry Willis.
1st and 10. Stampeders out at the 37 now. Charge on Barrett. He can't get away this time. Jurison was there, but Lewis gets the sack. Jurison forced him in.
Well, the front four has had a good afternoon, as Calgary's has too. Good pressure coming from Vince Goldsmith. They force him up the middle. And there's Gary Lewis, 79, waiting for him.
2nd and 18. Stampeders push back to the 29.
5th sack of the day for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The new middle linebacker, Tuane Alapate.
Is down again. Goldsmith. Hang on, that's Jurison. Number 71. That's the number you made famous here, isn't it?
I think it's the number Bobby Jurison has made famous here, but great pressure up front. All out blitz. Alapate up the middle. Jurison from the outside, and he gets the sack. And the way the offense is going, I suspect it's going to be the defense that gets this game turned around for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
3rd and 24. You bet they'll punt from the 8-yard line. Brent Manich to Albert Brown at the 45. Brown got through and gets the Roughriders out into scoring position up near the 45. Ron Hopkins made the stop.
What a beautiful job he did of splitting the tackles. Darcy Kopp and Jay Christensen looked like they had him dead. And Albert Brown just cut right through there, and boy, he has played well for the Roughriders. Last year, mostly the designated import, strictly coming in on kickoffs and punt returns. Now starting his first full year on the corner, 7 interceptions, 3rd in the CFL in that department, also doing this outstanding job on special teams.
1st and 10, Saskatchewan. At the 46, the running game continues to be a problem for Saskatchewan. Sean Daniels stopped there. Maybe a half-yard lead.
Well, I mean, you figured out. You got a guy in your team that's a 1,000-yard rusher, 2nd in the CFL. I mean, I think Timmy McRae's the guy that should be carrying the ball, and Sean Daniels should be the one blocking for him.
I think you might be right. 2:29 left in the 3rd quarter. Stampeders lead the Roughriders 21-10. Austin from the shotgun. He's going nowhere. Decked by David McCrary. 2nd sack of the afternoon for McCrary. 6th total for the Calgary Stampeders.
They have used the blitz so effectively this afternoon. David McCrary from the short side of the field, and Matt Finley on the pass rush takes the running back, and that allows McCrary around the corner to come in scot-free and make the sack.
That's a little more like it in Saskatchewan. A little breezier, Lee.
That's a gentle breeze out here.
Almost dead calm when we began this telecast. A little breezier now, but not a terrific factor as yet, although it seems to have affected Baker's kick there. Perry touched it. He was lucky to get back to the football. 26-yard kick for Baker. I don't think wind was the only problem he had with that one.
Well, I think both punters are a little rattled today. Block kicks. Ken Austin, I don't think he's ever been able to get comfortable this afternoon. Calgary defense has changed around. One series, they come with the blitz on every down. The next series, they change up and drop back and sit in zone coverage. He's just never been able to get a comfortable feel of what he can do on offense this afternoon.
First down for the Stampeders. Danny Barrett at the controls. He fired behind Marshall Toner that time.
There's no question, you know, that's what the pressure does to a quarterback time after time. If you keep getting hit every time you throw the football, well, that's going to make you speed up a little bit and throw the ball maybe before the receivers are ready. Certainly the case that time. Marshall Toner, no chance to catch the football, and I have a feeling we're going to see Mr. Burgess
warming up on the sidelines.
I think that is a good move, too. And Austin apparently does not have a good handle on things.
In game one between these two teams this season, it was Burgess who came on and led the Roughriders to victory in the final 2 minutes with a pile of points. What, 17 points in 2 minutes for the win? Quarterback draw here.
That's a great call. Great call by Danny Barrett. You know, sometime in a game you have to try and take control of it yourself, and he decided this was the time, and a quarterback draw, perfect call. Usually on a quick one like this, all you need is one good block by your center. He got it from Mike Palumbo, and that is a much-needed first down for the Calgary offense.
15-yard gain for the Stampeders. 52 seconds remaining in the third quarter.
Danny Barrett has a big heart.
Big toss for Barrett for Larry Willis, far side. And another Stampeder first down in front of Albert Brown that time.
It seems as though every time they've been able to give Danny Barrett some kind of protection this afternoon, he has completed some passes. Larry Willis having a good afternoon. Had the big 70-yard bomb here in the third quarter. Put the Stampeders ahead 21-10.
31 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Stampeders continue their drive. They continue to lead by 11 at 21-10 on Saskatchewan. Barrett over the head of Lorenzo Graham. Lorenzo.
I do like this offensive set, though, with the three receivers to both sides of the field. It looks like it really spreads out the defense well, and they can give Barrett the time to throw. That becomes the key issue.
2nd and 10. Calgary at the Saskatchewan 50. Barrett tries the quarterback draw once more. To now, Alapate read it well.
Alapate. All the weightlifting records for bench press, deadlift at Washington State. He was a punter, a place kicker, a tight end, and he's done it all. He's quite an athlete.
The legend has it that George Reed discovered him at George's old alma mater. Sent him to Saskatchewan. Should be the final play of the third quarter. Managed kicks. It is down, but there is no flag down. This is Richie Hall. And the wind having an effect on that kick, definitely, as it trickles through the end zone. 69-yard single for the Calgary Stampeders. So add one more to the Calgary total. It is 22-10. Fourth quarter just ahead. There's a veteran of the Wars, Leo Blanchard. Won some Grey Cups in Edmonton. New quarterback for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Facing the same difficulty that his predecessor did this afternoon. Tom Burgess stopped for a loss of about a half a yard near the 35. Kent Austin has given way to his partner, Tom Burgess.
Well, John, there's no question we haven't seen a great offensive display by either team, but I think you have to look to the positive and say that both defenses have really played well this afternoon. Calgary's, of course, played well, only giving up 10 points. Saskatchewan's defense, for most of the time, has played well, too.
22-10 as the fourth quarter gets underway at Taylor Field.
Quite see who it was. I believe number 81, Will Johnson.
It is Will Johnson. The Stampeders have been taking more of the physical abuse here this afternoon, or at least their players have been more frequently injured. Some numbers through three quarters. Stampeders improving a little bit in total yards and in first downs in the third quarter. Turnovers still hurting Saskatchewan. When you look at the bottom line of things, the Roughriders have turned it over 5 times compared to 2 for the Stampeders. And on the scoreboard, the advantage is 12 points. Calgary will be tough to catch for second spot in the Western Division if they win this one here today. That will give the Stampeders a 4-point advantage.
There you see number 75, Stu Laird, who will come in to replace Will Johnson. And the opening game of the season here in Regina, Stu Laird hurt the knee ligaments, and it's nice to see him back in the lineup. He had a great year in '88 and was expected to have a good year this year. The injury, of course, kept him out for a lot of games.
Actually, this is his second game back, I believe. On the run, first down to Don Narcisse. Burgess on target in front of Chris Major.
Well, I think it was a really good move by John Gregory making the switch to Tommy Burgess. Austin just was struggling at quarterback to try and establish any kind of offense, sustained offense. John Gregory made the switch and seemed to inject a little bit of life into that Saskatchewan offense with Tom Burgess in there.
Into the fourth quarter just underway. There's still lots of action left here this afternoon at Taylor Field. Batted down. I think it might have been intended for McRae. Stu Laird got a hand on it.
That's one thing Calgary was always thin on was their depth, their backup depth. And now that Will Johnson is out, it's nice to have a guy like Stu Laird to be able to come in and replace him.
2nd and 10. Roughriders just shy of midfield. Burgess for Fairholm, short of the first down. Howard Fields, big hit on Fairholm.
Boy, Howard felt that one. He's going off. He hurt himself a little bit, but what a hit he put on Jeff Fairholm. You know, that's really the difference between this league and the NFL. When the defensive backs hit somebody in the NFL, they usually go no further. Here, they're kind of happy just to get the guy down, but this is a major league hit to keep them short of the first down. Howard Fields with that left shoulder right in there. Jeff Fairholm does not go an inch farther when he catches that football.
Now, it is Howard Fields who is hurt, however.
No, he hurt that left shoulder when he stuck it in there, but that was a tremendous hit. Howard Fields has a huge heart as well. And that's the one thing that I've always liked about the Calgary Stampeders. They have a lot of character guys on that club. Danny Barrett, Howard Fields, etc.
Now Burgess goes gambling here. 3rd and 1.
I would think it's a good idea. They have the wind at their back in the fourth quarter now. And
let's see if this gamble pays off. It does. Tim McRae. The first down and yards to spare as he crosses the 40. Matt Finley made the stop on McRae after an 8-yard gain.
Good short yardage play. You know, those are great. I mean, you get one scene for a back like Timmy McRae in short yardage, and they more than often have the chance to go all the way. That time, a good tackle by Greg Peterson, who has come into the game replacing Howard Fields, kept him from going all the way. Howard Fields back in the game now.
From the 39, it is McRae again. A big hole for Tim McRae inside the 10. McCrary made the stop. You see, where's the other quarterback on the sidelines saying, well, how come that didn't work for me?
Why didn't I call that play? But he's the guy you want to get the football to. Timmy McRae has been hot all season long. Between he and Don Narcisse, they have been most of the offense. Jeff Fairholm, too, having a good year. But the draw play, good blocking up front for Timmy McRae. Bob Foley and Roger Aldag, along with Mike Anderson, the center, open up a nice hole.
They spot it down at the 10. Saskatchewan, 1st and goal to go from there. It is Burgess at quarterback. McRae inside the 5. Touchdown! Landry had a hold of Tim McRae, but somehow he got away. Now, John Gregory is a genius again. He changed quarterbacks.
This is Timmy McRae's first touchdown catch of 1989, and not only does he make a good catch turning his body around, he beats the leading tackler in the league into the end zone.
Safe.
Quarterback switch pays off with the Saskatchewan Roughriders engineer a touchdown drive by Tommy Burgess.
Tim McRae gets the Roughriders back into this one. The convert is good, and Saskatchewan trailing the Calgary Stampeders 22-17. Tim McRae has the touchdown that gets the Roughriders within 5 points of the Calgary Stampeders at 22-17. 12 minutes, 11 seconds to play, fourth quarter.
Nice protection for Tom Burgess. And you'll see coming right into your living room, Timmy McRae with the catch. A good spin move on Tank Landry. Saskatchewan's 2nd touchdown of the afternoon. There's Timmy. The commercial break, we had a close-up of him, and he said, John, we're coming back, baby.
We're coming back. David Ridgway. This is Lorenzo Graham. Had a little difficulty getting started on that one, and that slowed down his progress. Larry Hogue stopping Graham at the 31. Here's the drive. Pretty good one. 7 plays, 75 yards.
Probably the first time either team's put 7 plays together this afternoon. We were privy to a sideline conversation that Larry Koharic had with his players, and they have decided in the fourth quarter now into the wind to go to their what they call their Kings offense, where they only have 1 wide receiver and 3 running backs and just try and grind it out.
Lorenzo Graham gets the first call and grind it out. He does. Stopped short of the first down, but pretty good run. He's close to it.
It really is. What they do is they bring Andy McVeigh in as the 3rd running back and a little extra blocking power up front. Tony Spallettini comes in as a tight end. He is a fullback. And they will play 3-down football.
I guess that is not a big surprise, the way the Eskimos are rolling along. Quarterback Tracy Ham was shaken up in that game. Eskimos won 34-11. This is 2nd down and 2 to go. And this is Andy McVeigh. Stopped initially, but McVeigh converts for a first down for the Stampeders, forced out by Albert Brown.
What a super run by Andy McVeigh. Boy, I mean, you just don't teach those kind of things, and he makes the good cut to get to the outside. Andy, of course, been with the club for 3 years now, out of the University of Toronto. And that
Riders had him stopped, Leaf.
That's a big first down. But Larry Koharic said with this style of offense, they will play 3-down football. So they're hoping to get 4 or 5 yards a pop and just drive it down the field, eat some time off the clock.
Now 10:47 remaining, 4th quarter. First down, Stampeders on the ground again. Lorenzo Graham. And he is stopped at the line of scrimmage.
Good initial penetration by number 70, Vince Goldsmith, and then he got a whole lot of help from everyone else. This is certainly not a tough offense to try and defense. It's just simply go get them kind of football. We have a report that Will Johnson has a sprained left ankle and possibly will return.
2nd and 10. Stampeders at the Calgary 50. Larry Willis stopped short of first down. Albert Brown reacting very well. And Willis is hurt. Well, at least shaken up.
Albert Brown really threw him down to the ground. He has had a great year in the corner. 3rd in the league in interceptions with 7, and where he takes over from Mike Magruder, who left the team, played out his option. And certainly was a question mark coming into the season. Would he be good enough to handle that cornerback spot, and hasn't disappointed anybody.
9:56 to play in the 4th quarter. The Stampeders lead the Roughriders 22-17. Calgary prepares to kick it away. Matic near his 40. Into the breeze, taken by Richie Hall. Flags are down as Hall escapes to the outside. Good return for Hall. Slowed down by Matic, number 4. Flag is down back near the 25. Hang on 1 second. Tempers flare a little bit down there, Leaf.
Well, both teams have really been going at each other hard on the special teams this afternoon. Not surprising to see a few little skirmishes.
9:26 left in the 4th quarter. With the Stampeders leading the Roughriders 22-17. No yards penalty gives the Roughriders a first down out of the 42. Now, we were here early in the season, first game, in fact, when the Roughriders stormed back to beat the Calgary Stampeders. It was Mr. Burgess at the controls and Mr. Narcisse on the receiving end.
Boy, this got Donnie Narcisse off to a great start, and he just has not let up all season long, having a tremendous year, and that's how they broke Calgary's back in the opener.
We'll see if Burgess can bring the Roughriders back once more. Good toss to Jeff Fairholm. Up to the 51, stopped by Chris Major. Gotta like this guy as a receiver, Leaf.
I think he's fabulous, and he's
gotta like this guy as a cornerback.
I like him too. There's a lot of guys out there I like today. These are 2 good football teams.
Gain of 8, 2nd and 2. Saskatchewan at the 50.
That's what Burgess wants, too. I mean, he has been getting in his few possessions good production on first down, and that really is the difference between the two quarterbacks right now, Burgess and Austin.
Burgess shakes off Johnson. Burgess short of the first down, I believe.
Oh, yeah, he's at least 2 or 3 yards short. Unusual call.
Do they call that the old naked bootleg? No.
It's the old bootleg.
Nobody in front of him.
Quarterback!
Lost a yard. This will be 3rd and 3.
Be alert on a quarterback. The quick snap right to center.
Burgess stays in as an up back, and you have to wonder what they'll do with this one.
It is a fake, Burgess.
Oh.
Now, I don't like that play at all. It didn't form very well at all. Ken Ford made the tackle on a 3rd down gamble. 2nd time that John Gregory's gone to that this afternoon, and 2nd time he has been wrong.
John, you don't like to sit up here and rip the decision-making, but I really believe Saskatchewan's made some critical errors on their judgment this afternoon. They had the Terry Baker pass on 3rd down that went incomplete on a turnover, and now at this point in time, there's 8:24 remaining. You only trail by 5 points, and that is a horrible turnover to give up, and I think John Gregory really is open to some criticism on that call.
1st and 10 for the Stampeders on another turnover. And look where the Stampeders get possession at the Saskatchewan 44. 6th Saskatchewan turnover. Lorenzo Graham is stunned for a loss, likely of about a yard. Well, maybe he's got a lot of faith in his defense.
Well, he better hope his defense bails him out on that one. I don't know. I can't believe it.
It was 3rd and a couple of yards. It was not a real short yardage situation.
Well, it was almost 3.
Almost 3, yes.
And of course, as soon as Burton stayed in as the up back, I mean, you could hear the Calgary guys yelling to watch him.
This is 2nd and 12. Barrett flares it off Randy McVay, and McVay is cornered and decked at the 55. Richie Hall makes that play work for Saskatchewan with help from Eddie Lowe.
Little Richie Hall, all 5, 6 of them, and he has been a big part of that Saskatchewan defense. Great leadership qualities, really involved in the community in Regina with the drug program for the kids, making them aware of all the perils of getting involved with drugs, and a real good community guy.
Well, if Albert Brown gets a great return here, that 3rd down gamble may not be too costly to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Brett Maddich into the wind and standing back at his 43. And Maddich has a long way to go for a first down. Can he get there? Maddich on 3rd down gamble makes it and steps out of bounds. I don't think that was a called play, was it?
I really don't think it was either. He saw the pressure initially and tucked it, and I think he was going to kick it, and then he thought, heck, look how open it is. I'm going to just run for it. But you see the pressure coming from the outside now. Oh, he did this on his own, I'm sure of that. 32-yard pickup.
That is a big play for the Calgary Stampeders.
Boy, you look at turning points of a football game. That might be the one.
22-17, Calgary leading with 6:46 to go. It's up to the Saskatchewan defense now to stop this Calgary drive. Lorenzo Graham, and he was hit first by Lowe and then forced back.
But when you look ahead and really evaluate that run, I mean, it really is crucial because the Roughriders trail by 5, and now they're well within Mark McLaughlin field goal range to maybe boost that lead to 8. So the worst you're looking at is a tie with a touchdown and a 2-point convert. Brent Maddich with a great effort on that 3rd down punt run.
A gain of 1. This is 2nd and 9. Stampeders just outside the Saskatchewan 25. Will Barrett keep it on the ground? No. He looks to the end zone and looks for the touchdown to Larry Willis. Just a little too far with Albert Brown covering. Field goal team heads onto the field for the Stampeders. Strange turn of events here in the 4th quarter.
Pretty good coverage by number 4, Albert Brown. You're going to get a nice look at it here. Actually, Danny Barrett threw this ball to a good spot. The out and up and a little pump fake. Albert Brown didn't bite on the out. And Barrett threw it to a good spot. Larry Willis just couldn't get there.
A 5-point differential. Mark McLaughlin from 32 yards out. Into the wind. McLaughlin is wide. It goes through for a single point. Boy, the Roughriders are a little bit lucky here this afternoon. John Gregory still has a shot at victory in Taylor Field. Talk about dodging the bullet. The Roughriders are still in this one with 5:38 to go. 23-17, Calgary in front, and things could have been a lot worse for Saskatchewan.
Well,
McLaughlin misses this chance here.
Yeah, I thought he baked this one. He's had a good year, but check the body English here as Mark McLaughlin tries to coax it in.
He thought he made it. He is only 50% from that range on the season, 54%.
Well, John, every week I look through the CFL statistics that they send us, and some things are meaningful, some are not so meaningful, but one that I think really comes into play now is that the Calgary defense, their worst quarter for giving up points is the 4th quarter. Now, which quarter do you think is the best quarter for the Saskatchewan offense all year?
I bet it's the 4th.
It's the 4th. So, we'll see if that's a factor with 5:38 remaining here.
Lots of time for Burgess to give the Saskatchewan Roughriders the advantage, or at least get them even within 3 points. The call is Tim McCray. Gets out near the 45. Now, they didn't go to Tim McCray a lot earlier in the ballgame, but a couple of times they've used him here in the 4th quarter. He has come through. One of your favorite running backs, I know.
Oh, he is. I'm a big fan of his. Hey, I like that Reggie Taylor up in Edmonton, too. Has he not been effective with that club?
Certainly has.
Well, the real difference since Tom Burgess rather took over from Kent Austin, first down production. He's been able to get good yards on first down, and there you see just a couple of inches short. Whereas Kent Austin seemed like he was 2nd and 10 all day long.
Now, is that in play selection? Would these quarterbacks both be calling all their own plays?
Oh, I think so. You've seen that Tom Burgess has gone to the running game in the second half here, and he's also used the short passes to get him 7 or 8 yards on first down. Definitely the play selection.
Second down, less than a yard to go. Burgess keeps himself, and he has the first down. 5:03 to play. What an afternoon it has been at Taylor Field. Blue skies all around us here today. And a balmy afternoon. Lee Pedersen didn't even have to bring his mitts up.
No, I was extremely pleased because we left Toronto, which the weather down there has been horrible.
It's nice to be here, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
First down for the Roughriders. Just across the 45. 4:35 to go. Saskatchewan trailing 23-17. Burgess, time to throw. Intended for Narcisse.
Well, actually, Burgess got lucky on that one. Dave McCreary was coming once again on the halfback blitz from the short side of the field. He has 2 sacks already this afternoon. Just as it looked like he was going to get to Tom Burgess, he slipped and fell down. So Burgess, a little lucky that he even could get that ball off, but of course couldn't complete the pass. David McCreary's had a nice day on defense.
2nd and 10. Roughriders at the 46. Charges on again. Burgess in trouble and down. Junior Thurman got through, and it came loose. Calgary Stampeders have the recovery as Ken Ford comes up with a turnover. Simply too many turnovers for Saskatchewan on this day at Taylor Field.
Well, they've used the safety blitz very effectively this afternoon with both David McCreary and now number 2, Junior Thurman, comes from the outside from the middle spot. He knocks the ball loose. Number 97, Hollywood Ford, gets the fumble recovery and 2 huge plays here in the 4th quarter. The run by Matic.
Turnover number 7. Very unlucky number for the Roughriders. With 3:52 to go, Stampeders take over. The first down at the Saskatchewan 41. Barrett carries himself. Klingbeil the tackle. Gain around 3.
I think Larry Caharic's made a good move. He's put the pass offense back in, and it was good to have that running offense in when you're in your own territory, but now he can afford to certainly open it up a little more.
2nd and 7 for Barrett. Lorenzo Graham was the intended receiver, and Barrett wasn't even close.
Well, they've been trying all day to get a pass into Lorenzo Graham, and he just has not been able to connect.
Another field goal try.
Stay onside!
This is a tough one from the 45. We saw at the close of the first half that Dave Ridgway was short from the 45-yard line.
It's a better range for Mark McLaughlin, though. He's been good on 76% from this area.
Well, he hit it well.
And he's wide once more. Albert Brown gets out to the 4-yard line. Now, what would a single have done to Saskatchewan at that stage? 23-17 on the scoreboard right now.
Well, I think you almost have to run it out like that and keep that 6-point spread so you can still win the game with a touchdown and a convert.
Roughriders have 2:45 to go. They trail the Stampeders 23-17. Into the final 3 minutes at Taylor Field, Regina. Still not over as the Roughriders dodge another bullet. 23-17. Albert Brown got out around the 4-yard line, but a penalty against the Stampeders gives Saskatchewan better field position up at the 20. As Burgess got one more miracle left in his repertoire.
I sure wouldn't count him out. I mean, I've seen him do it before, and 2:45 is an eternity in the Canadian Football League, and no one knows that better than Larry Kuharich, and he has been in this spot before.
He remembers the first game of the year. Only
he remembers.
Saskatchewan coming back with 17 points in the final 2 minutes to beat Calgary.
You can bet that every player wearing a red and white uniform remembers that opening game.
Saskatchewan has won the opening 2 games of the season series with the Calgary Stampeders.
And you know, the other side of the coin, John, is the guys in the green remember what happened in that opening game, and that I'm sure they'll reflect back on that, and it might give them some confidence knowing that they can do it.
Burgess in trouble and down. Price should get credit for that sack, his 2nd of the day. 5th of the season for Mitch Price. 2:33 to play.
Mitchell Price with a great afternoon for him. Good hard pass rush up the middle.
Big loss, 2nd and 18. Another big charge on Burgess. Narcisse makes the catch. What a great play. He gets the first down. Now, did he one-hand that lead?
I couldn't really tell, John, quite honestly, but what a great throw by Tommy Burgess to thread the needle to the sideline. And I guess, again, you know, you're working against Chris Major, who's one of the better corners in the league. So it might have been a one-hander. Great play. Well, he's been the big guy on the receiving end of things for the Riders all year long.
1st and 10, Saskatchewan with 2:13 to go. The Roughriders at the 30. Burgess has some room to the far side, comes back over the middle, almost intercepted. It was almost over right there. Ken Ford had it go through his fingertips.
How did Kenny Ford miss that one? Roger Aldag and Will Johnson are having a little chat. Roger doesn't say a whole lot, but I've seen him talk more this afternoon to the opposing players than I think he might have done in his whole career. There's Will Johnson. He was out for a series with the sprained ankle, but he is back. Great speed, 4.7 speed for a big defensive lineman. Let's see maybe what happened. He makes the hit.
Second and 10. Jeff Fairholm. And that's another Saskatchewan first down. So the Raptors keep it alive with 2:03 to go. Howard Fields covering Jeff Fairholm that time.
Good pattern by Jeff Fairholm, and he's working against Howard Fields, who is one of the better one-on-one defensive backs in the league. And nice break to the outside.
Mitchell Price injured. Stu Laird comes in.
I can only guess the fans think that he's faking to slow things down just a touch from their reaction.
No sympathy for the injured.
Mitchell Price has had a good afternoon, as the whole Calgary defense has. They have really played well.
2:03 to go. Roughriders still have a shot at this thing.
The Saskatchewan offense has the ability to score a lot of points, and to this point only 17. And I think Larry Coherick will be very happy with his defense to this point, and even happier if they can hang on and win this football game, obviously.
Saskatchewan first down. The Roughriders out across their own 40 at the 43 with 2:03 to go. It is 23-17. The Stampeders leading, but a Saskatchewan touchdown converted would win this thing for the Roughriders. Timmy McRae. Stopped by the tank and Ford.
Now, you know Larry Coheric's stomach is absolutely churning at this point. 2 minutes exactly remaining.
No, it couldn't happen again, could it?
Oh.
2nd and 5. Burgess will throw. Sean Daniels will have a first down. Chris Major was all over Daniels. He made a pretty good catch.
And that is a major league catch for Sean Daniels, and it's his first of the afternoon, and what a huge one it is. Watch this for the youngster. Beautiful catch. He knows he's going to take the hit. That's great concentration.
Minute 49 to go. Roughriders creeping up to midfield. Burgess in difficulty and down back at the 45. Gene Beliveau was there. And Kent Warnock not far away.
You know, those two really worked well together on that side of the defensive line, Beliveau and Warnock. Beliveau just kept rushing straight up the middle, and finally Warnock from the outside. Burgess was flushed into him. Those two have done a great job this year.
Both with 11 sacks in the season, second in the bunch. Burgess out to McRae. McRae comes up short of the first down on 2nd and 16. Dave McCrary up to make the stop. Now McRae did a pretty good job to get what he got. Minute 31 to go.
Well, some people would say, you know, 2nd and 16, why do you throw short to your back? Well, they're definitely playing 3-down football now with only a minute 31 remaining. In fact, I think Saskatchewan has taken a timeout to talk this 3rd down gamble over.
3rd and 6. What do you want me to do, Coach?
Calgary took the timeout, by the way, just to clarify that. Well, on critical 2nd down plays in this drive, they've gone to out patterns. One to Don Narcisse and one to Jeff Fairholm. So, sure that was discussed in the conversation.
A minute 31 to go. The Stampeders, under head coach Larry Kuhar, leading the Saskatchewan Roughriders 23-17. This is it. This is for all the marbles right now. 3rd down and 6 for the Roughriders. Timmy McRae converts for a first down. McRae inside the 30. Chris Major stopped him there. A minute 25 to go. Larry Kuhar is not a happy chickadee.
Well, they decided to come with the blitz on 3rd and 8, and they got caught. Tank Landry has Timmy McRae in man-to-man coverage. He just couldn't get over fast enough, and boy, you know, you live and die by the blitz. They've had some good plays with it this afternoon, but Tommy Burgess and the entire offense picked it up perfectly.
1st and 10, Saskatchewan at the Calgary 29. Charges on, but Burgess gets away. Burgess carries himself. He's down to the 20 and close to another Saskatchewan first down. Stopped there by Ken Ford.
Well, you can see Burgess. He's really in control at this stage. Absolutely so aware of what he's doing on the field, sitting in the short yardage end, and he has done a nice job on this drive.
Big finish at Taylor Field this afternoon.
What a pickup on the blitz on that third down gamble.
Injured Stampeder. That will give Tom Burgess a chance to head to the sidelines and talk things over with the coach. 1:04 to go. Gene Beliveau is injured. Second down. About a yard to go for the Roughriders. Just outside the 20.
Well, the blood pressure goes up a few notches.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Which coach would you like to be right now? The guy with the lead or the guy chasing the victory?
Well, I'd want to be the guy with the lead.
There's the guy chasing the victory. Second down, 1 to go. Saskatchewan trailing 23-17. Burgess keeps and has another first down. 58 seconds on the clock now. Touchdown wins it for Saskatchewan. Injured Rough Rider now. Just to add to the drama a little bit here. Tom Burgess engineered a dramatic comeback for the Saskatchewan Roughriders over the Calgary Stampeders on the opening day of this 1989 season. Subsequently, he took over as the starting quarterback in Saskatchewan. Later, he lost the job to Kent Austin, who started once again here this afternoon. Austin has given way to Burgess, and Burgess has the Roughriders within 20 yards of a victory. With a minute to go, 23-17. Calgary leading Saskatchewan. You believe in miracles, Lee? We saw one here to start the season on TSN. Jurison shaken up. He was in on the short yardage team. What a great afternoon to watch a football game at Taylor Field.
That's been fun.
54 seconds to go. First and 10, Saskatchewan at the Calgary 18. Burgess, time to the end zone. Bresciani, jump ball. Interception. Junior Thurman comes up with the interception. Bresciani had a shot at making the touchdown catch. But with 44 seconds to go, the Stampeders look like they will hang on for the victory. Well, I think that would be justice if they do.
That was one of the key things, the changes they made this week, was to put Junior Thurman back in the middle safety spot and play 5 imports in the secondary. And boy, he has a touchdown on the block punt, and now maybe the biggest play in the Calgary season so far. You know, Rob Bresciani was open earlier, but Junior Thurman with the good speed, and you know, he played the corner for a number of games this year when Chris Major was injured, but by trade at the University of Southern California, he was a free safety, so he knows that spot well.
44 seconds to go. No miracle at Taylor Field this afternoon.
We can't beat a 9. Hi, Calgary. And you know it. We did it. DG.
Well, they have made the big plays, the Calgary Stampeders, this afternoon. You know, the Maddich punt run. Larry Willis with the big long bomb. Junior Thurman with a touchdown and an interception. The tank.
And the Stamps will run it out with Andy McVay and a big play here.
Boy, you see those two hands go over the football. What a smart play by Andy McVay.
36 seconds to go at Taylor Field.
That's what we talked about this afternoon, the depth of the Stampeders. A guy like Stu Laird that can come in now, and a guy like Andy McVay who you put in a crucial time to run the football. That's a happy group on the sidelines.
37-yard gain for Andy McVay. The Stampeders are into Saskatchewan territory with the seconds ticking down against the Roughriders. A win today puts Calgary 4 points ahead of Saskatchewan. And that puts a pretty good lock on second spot in the Western Division. It does not clinch for Calgary, but it puts a pretty good lock on things. And If the Stampeders hang on and win second spot in the Western Division, it will be the first time the Stampeders have hosted a playoff game in 10 seasons at McMahon Stadium.
That's a long time.
Long time, 1979.
But it shows you what a good defense can do. You know, the defense for the Stampeders played so well this afternoon and carried the offense long enough. The offense produced the one big touchdown to Larry Willis. But the defense has carried this team most of the year, and I think people around the league would agree that this is a good group on defense. Good veteran group, mixed in with a couple of young guys like a Junior Thurman. Chris Major, he's young, so is David McCreary.
17 seconds on the clock, and the Stampeders can run that out. That was 2nd and 11. Calgary retains possession, and Burgess comes up a little bit shy this afternoon. He tossed to Rob Bresciani in the end zone, and Junior Thurman came up with a football. Dan Barrett wins the day. Stampeders have won 5 of their last 6 ball games.
But Danny Barrett, it wasn't pretty.
It wasn't pretty, was it?
Of course, I think that's the way you would describe his quarterbacking. Often not pretty, but effective enough. It threw a good strike to Larry Willis for the big touchdown. And had a couple of key runs with the quarterback draw. I thought it was a well-coached game on the Calgary side when they went to that running offense to start the 4th quarter to get themselves deep out of their own territory. And see Coach Q with the game ball. Excellent defensive game plan against Saskatchewan Roughriders, too. Really mixed it up well this afternoon with the blitz and the zones. And I think Calgary deserves full marks for their victory this afternoon.
Disappointing afternoon for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The offense did not get on track until Burgess came in. And by then, it was just a little bit too late for Saskatchewan to make it 3 straight wins over the Calgary Stampeders. Foley, number 57, has a lot of friends on that Stampeder team. He played there for several seasons before coming over to Saskatchewan, returning to Saskatchewan, I should say, last season. Here's the final at Taylor Field this afternoon. Back in just a moment.
All right, our player of the game, Foster's CFL player of the game. Really, we could have picked anybody from the Calgary defense, but we picked Mitchell Price, 3 quarterback sacks among the 8 you had. You had not beaten Edmonton or Saskatchewan until today. This is a big win for this football team.
Big win. We need to get a win to stay up for 2nd place, and we were able to do it. And hopefully next week when we play them in Calgary, we'll be able to have something to roll into on the playoffs, you know.
What was the key today, Mitchell?
Just making the plays. Defense had to have a big game because last game we played them, they had almost 700 yards of total offense on, and we thought we played good in some areas, but we just didn't get the job done. This week we had guys all over the field. Like I said, any guy could have been player of the game this week, and everybody just played a big game, and it just happened for us.
All right, congratulations. Best of luck next Sunday against Saskatchewan once again back home.
All right, thank you.
Mitchell Price, our Foster's CFL player of the game. Let's go now to the TSN Turning Point. It's brought to you today by AC Delco. The turning point in this game came in the 3rd quarter. It was a touchdown pass, one of a couple on the day by Danny Barrett. A little pattern that went out to Larry Willis, and he really turned it into a big play, taking it all the way down to the end zone for the go-ahead score, really the insurance score in the game. And from that point on, the Calgary Stampeders held on to win 23-17. A cash donation will be made to Amateur Sports on behalf of TSN and AC Delco Smart Parts. They don't just fit, they match. So the Calgary Stampeders finally managed to beat one of the 2 big teams here in the West, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 23-17, the final score in this football game. An important win, I think, psychologically for the Stampeders, who've really struggled against both Saskatchewan and Edmonton so far this year. They get to do it all again next Sunday at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. The ticket offices there will be open all week until midnight, so we'll hope for a good crowd in Calgary. We will be in Winnipeg next Sunday to watch Ottawa and the Blue Bombers. And we'll start with the CFL report at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, and then Ottawa and the Bombers itself at 2:30 Eastern Time. Join us then if you can. There's the final score. Thank you for being with us today on a gorgeous day from Regina. So long from Taylor Field. Foster's CFL Game of the Week. Brought to you by Foster's Lager, proud to bring you the best in the CFL.